1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We were talking about sports triggers. Mike is in Pennsylvania, has got one.
We never should have let Jimmy Butler go.
No.
Come playoff time?
I was tickled by it. He's got a laugh that makes me laugh. People said Kawhi Leonard in the chat.
Yes. Very much. Wow. Wow.
No.
Maggie, I think the Sixers are going to win the NBA championship this year.
The Bills will win a Super Bowl.
Don't say that.
The Jets will have a solid, dependable, steady season with no drama.
That's so good.
Can I just do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mets are going to figure it out.
That's just mean. We're just piling on Maggie.
It's so easy.
I threw in the Jets, too.
They are Maggie and Perloff. On
Edwards, he breaks it back with running room on the ball. Edwards down the sideline. Dylan Edwards, touchdown, Colorado. 75 yards. What a way to start the second half for the Buffaloes as they try to put TCU to sleep.
Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, off vacation and back with you now throughout the football season. Perloff, we had to start the show with a Colorado Buffaloes highlight.
Maggie, it can't be this easy. It can't be this easy that you just overturn the whole team and all of a sudden you look like you guys have been playing together for 8 years. I just can barely believe what I saw in the Colorado TCU game.
You know what you sound like? A non-believer.
Yeah.
And there's the door for the non-believers. I mean, I think what Deion did and what the Colorado Buffaloes did, and by the way, Dylan Edwards in that highlight, just one of 4 wide receivers from Colorado to tally over 100 yards receiving, including Travis Hunter, who we'll talk about, and Shedeur Sanders, who we'll talk about as the quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, respectively. But if you're not a believer, I mean, there's the door. Like, It's the best story in sports right now. Whether you love it or whether you hate it, you cannot turn away from Colorado.
Well, wait. Let's parse our words here.
Yeah.
So by saying I didn't say it wasn't the best story. By saying do you believe it? Does that mean they're going to go 9-2? What does belief mean? Define this. Like what is a reasonable expectation?
It means something different now after that upset of TCU.
Okay.
They go in as a 20-point underdog, and now I think believing it. I don't think Deion Sanders would say this. This is what I'm saying, Maggie Gray. I think that it means bowl eligible, playing in a bowl game, which would have been inconceivable just a few days ago.
It's a 4.5 win total, so it seems unlikely to get to 6 or 7. Now, here's the question, though. Are teams going to figure this out? Is this going to sustain itself? Listen, I was into it Saturday.
You asked if you could get on the bandwagon.
I was totally into it. I wanted to get on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
But since then, the bandwagon's become such a fiery bandwagon. It's just too much. I can't handle the heat.
What do you mean you can't handle it?
People are so excited. I just don't understand really, like, are we talking now like an 8-4 season? Is that realistic? Because I saw the game on Saturday and I'm like, I'm thinking 8-4 or something like that. Like, why isn't this team going to be really good this fast? Then another part of my brain is like, you just can't pull it together this fast, but it seems like Deion has.
You know, I think that It's true. It's something that we have not seen.
Yeah.
With 87 new players, unprecedented roster turnover, thanks in part to the transfer portal, and the fact that Deion really had, I think, two things. One, we knew about Travis Hunter. The two-way star played almost 130 snaps against TCU in the 100-degree Texas heat and looked spectacular on both sides of the ball. He becomes the first player in more than 20 years to have over 100 yards receiving and also record an interception in a game. He's amazing, but we knew that. Yeah. He could have gone to Florida State or every other team, FBS team that recruited him, but decided to go to Jackson State with Deion and go to an HBCU and then came with him to Colorado. Okay, we knew that he was going to be great. I did not know Shedeur Sanders was this good. He looked so polished. Now, TCU's defense was not amazing, even though they have some studs on defense, supposedly. 38 for 47, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Shedeur Sanders looks polished and looks like a pro.
Okay, I disagree a little bit on Travis Hunter, and I agree Shedeur Sanders looks amazing. There's no doubt about it. Definitely a pro. The problem with Travis Hunter, yeah, we knew he was good, but we did not know what was coming on Saturday. How could you ever predict that? There's only one player who I've ever seen in history who's looked that good on both sides of the ball, and that's the coach.
Yeah.
You said, yes, we knew he was good. Did we know he was going to dominate the game from the cornerback position and then get 10 catches for over 100 yards? No, I mean, to me, that was an education watching him. It was unbelievable. I agree with you. Sanders was great, but the really, really special player is Travis Hunter, and I can't even put into words how special he was. I've never seen that. I described him as Shohei on Twitter. It's amazing. At quarterback, he's perfect. He knew what the quarterback was going to do on every play. And then a wide receiver, I mean, he was the best wide receiver on the team. I know Dylan Edwards had a big game. He was making spectacular catches. It's totally unprecedented. I can't believe it. That's why I have trouble believing it, Maggie. That's why I can't believe they can sustain this part of me.
Well, I mean, playing 130 snaps and doing it in that kind of heat, I mean, can Travis Hunter continue to play that amount of workload? Can he have that heavy workload and stay healthy and stay dominant? I mean, that's something that, quite frankly, only Deion would know, or someone who's played like that at a high level. So obviously he's in the best place for him. Stu, let's hear Deion talking about Travis Hunter. This was courtesy of the Pat McAfee Show.
That kid is straight different.
Yeah.
He is different. He's the first rounder. He's the first pick overall when it's his opportunity to go in the NFL draft. First pick overall on both sides of the ball.
Are they going to let him do both in the NFL, you think?
Well, only a fool won't let him do both because he's going to be the best player on either side.
You're so right about the Ohtani comparison, right? Because, and one thing Deion said in that interview is that in order to play on both sides of the ball like that, you have to be elite at one of them in order to play both. And so obviously Hunter's an elite corner, and then he's able to play wide receiver so spectacularly. Deion said if you're only good at both, it's not going to work. It's not going to be worth it. But if you're elite at one, you can play the other. Now, Hunter is not eligible to go into the NFL draft until 2025. Meanwhile, his son, though, Shedeur, is eligible with this draft class of Caleb Williams, Drake May, and there were probably 6 or 7 other quarterbacks in week 1 that looked amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot left to be seen about Shedeur Sanders. It's a long season. He didn't look, I don't know how tall he is. He's not like Drake May in North Carolina, who's clear, easy 6'4", looks like he's 6'5". I do worry Shedeur might be a little small.
6'2".
Okay, let's
I just saw Bryce Young get drafted number 1 overall.
No, but I'm saying he's listed 6'2". He's obviously not like a gigantic kid. So that's good. I mean, I'm now debating will he go 4 or 9. By the way, right. I'm not like saying he's not a first.
Height matters anymore. Do we put that to bed?
Well, I would not. Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson was 5'11", would he have gone number 4 in this year's draft?
Probably not.
Okay. Anyway, Shedeur Sanders is going high, but again, can they keep this up? They couldn't stop the run at all, and they couldn't run the ball. So I think that teams are going to try and sort of pin them into what they don't do well.
Sure.
TCU had no idea.
Now Matt Rule, when Colorado plays Nebraska this weekend, he's going to have a little bit more to go on. But Nebraska's coming off of this last-second loss to Minnesota that was a heartbreaker.
Nebraska should not call pass play the entire game. That is clear. That's the other thing. talking about a team that's just as new and different. Like Nebraska has no idea what they're doing either, so I don't think that they're going to play their strike. What's the spread, Maggie? What's the latest spread?
I believe it was Colorado -3.
Okay, can we pool all 4 of our money together and bet on Colorado in this one?
I'm happy to because I'm a believer. You, on the other hand, I don't think you would put yourself staunchly in that category yet.
No, although I live bet that entire game on Colorado. 3 plays in, you could see TCU had no interest in tackling anybody. And then I kept live betting the over, and it went up. By the end, it went up to 91.4 was the over to live bet, and I lost because nobody could tackle anybody. What was going on there? I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to have a Heisman-like season. I think Hunter will have a Heisman-like season, but they have to come back to earth. So that means, yes, I'm not a believer. I think they come back to earth. I'm going to say it.
All right. Well, speaking of believers, and this is what really kicked this off, this was Deion Sanders after the win against TCU had a bit of a back and forth with ESPN's Ed Werder.
What's up, boss? You believe that?
Of all the
hold on. Oh, no. Do you believe that? Huh?
Who said I didn't believe before?
No. I read through that bull junk you wrote down. I read through that. I sifted through all
What did I write?
Yeah.
What did I write?
Oh, no.
Can I ask my question?
Do you believe?
In what?
You don't believe.
I do believe.
You just answered it. You don't believe. Next question.
This is all just one big show, and we're all here front row for the show. Because this is not about like journalism anymore. Of course, people who cover teams don't root for teams. We all know that. If you have half a brain, you know it. It doesn't matter. This is about the show, and I'm happy to have a front row seat for the show.
All right.
We all do.
I don't know. I'm already over it.
You can't be over it.
I'm
It just
over it.
started. It's impossible to be over it. Nothing's happened yet. We got one amazing win for Colorado. They were 20-point underdogs. That's it. That's all that's happened.
No, I'm buying it. Perloff, the second we mentioned Deion, the second he walked in the door, he just rolled his eyes and went, oh, he is over it. He's done with Deion.
By the way, you
after
said
the best weekend we've ever seen.
Maggie, you just said it's one game. You had opened this segment by saying the Colorado football has arrived.
I know. Well, I was a believer before.
Do you believe that?
I was a believer before because I couldn't understand how people wrote off Colorado so dismissively.
Because they had all new players.
I know. And
they got there, and they didn't even get there in January. They got there in the spring. They were talking about it during the game. Those guys, I don't even know how they learned all the plays and everything so fast. They looked like a poised veteran team. And TCU, on the other hand, looked like, oh, we don't even have to try to win this game. And they learned out pretty quickly.
We want to hear from you at 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Of course, want to say a hello to the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers. Had a fun time on Friday and Monday, so thank you guys for keeping it going. Brian is in the chat. Sanders, meaning Shedeur, deserves some Heisman votes if he keeps that pace. Yes, throwing for 510 yards and 4 touchdowns. But I think Travis Hunter really would be... Listen, Shedeur looks great and deserves Heisman votes. Perloff, you said it. But Hunter is the real spectacular thing here, right? Watching something that we haven't seen in such a long time.
Absolutely. Although I'm trying to do the math. I'm pulling out my calculator. 510 times 12 games. That would put him on pace for, I don't know, a 9,000-yard college football season. If he keeps this up, then he might win the Heisman.
Then he might.
Wouldn't it be great if there were 2 finalists from Colorado? I think it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, they might, sort of cannibalize each other, but you're right. Jeffrey Howells in the chat said that peanut butter lasted longer in Perloff than Colorado fandom. It's probably true.
You did not want to be there that night. No, I'm still...
No.
I'm still a fan, but I don't get why you don't understand where I'm coming from. When everybody jumps onto a bandwagon, then it becomes annoying, by definition.
You are the number one bandwagon jumper in the world.
Then I get off once everyone else joins it. I don't want to...
Perloff's bandwagon rules. You could write a book about it.
Yes, I mean, listen, have I changed my college football allegiances over the last 5 days? Am I off that Clemson bandwagon? Oh, yeah.
What gave you the first clue?
You know I love me some Duke football. Daniel Jones. What's that guy who was on
Dave
the Giants for years? No, Dave Brown.
Brown, sorry. You're
thinking of the backup for the Bengals.
I was.
His name Browning. Oh, yeah, love me some Duke football. I don't know what you're talking about, bandwagon jumping.
Yeah, sure. You invented it. 855-212-4CBS. Let's waste no time. Our pal Jay in Alabama. Jay, you had to like what you were seeing, right?
Man, okay, first of all, I'm with Perloff. I hate serial bandwagon riders, you know what I mean? But
You're talking to one. Perloff is the #1 serial band. Don't let him fool you, Jay. You're too smart for that.
No, he ain't fooling nobody. I've been listening to him long enough to know. Yeah, he ain't pulling no wool over my eyes. But I was watching. First of all, I haven't been watching those sports. I was like purposely like I'm waiting until football starts. And when I turned that game on, I was just hoping they didn't embarrass themselves because of all the haters out there.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a lot riding on that game, no doubt. And they kind of celebrated like they won the Super Bowl, which might be a little bit concerning. They were really celebrating that victory, but you know what? They were 20-point underdogs. They deserve it.
Well, I mean, I was celebrating too because, I mean, you had people like just childish, like people with their stupid podcasts just like childishly hating on them. I mean, just childishly.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it like, oh, well, they're not going to beat Nebraska. Like, Nebraska got slow, pitching, corn-fed dudes up there. They're not going to be able to keep up with that. But, I mean, just the thing that got me the most was, and plus I heard people on the other side like, well, as a black man, so there's like, I can give a rat's ass about the whole black man thing. It's just as a human being to be able to, like, cash in on your promises or, like, do what you say you're going to do. He's like Deion right now is like Broadway Joe guaranteeing the Super Bowl at every stop.
And
he's winning the Super Bowl at every freaking stop.
And Jay, you're so right. I mean, the whole, like, listen, and Jay, it's so good to hear from you. Glad you're well. Thanks for calling in. Every team, even Georgia last year, were like, no one believes in us. Like, everyone plays we're the underdog card, right? Because it's the best, most comfortable place to be in sports is to be chasing something, not being the chased, right? But the fact that Colorado, they had real, like, bulletin board material. I know you don't believe in bulletin board material. I do.
Well, sure.
And Deion played that card so well. Now, can we hear this, Stu? Can we play the Deion Sanders and about the motivation for the season? Now, this clip is just a tiny bit long, but I think it's worth it. And he's talking about how he played this up for his team.
You throw in the doubt factor of other people that's something I could tug on with my kids, I could tug on with my team, I could tug on with my coaches. Like, they don't believe us. They think it's a game. They think it's a joke. They think we just flipped the schedule for no reason, just because not the schedule, the roster for no reason, because we just wanted to. They don't believe. So as long as you could give me a thread that I could pull on that heart, oh, my guy's ready to hunt. They're ready to hunt.
So that was on the Pat McAfee show. And so my question, where I am a Colorado believer, but I do think it's interesting, what happens when they're now the hunted? Because clearly being the underdogs, being motivated by the haters or whatever, the non-believers, that was something Deion played up with the players and the coaches. What happens when now everyone's believing on you because so many people are jumping on the bandwagon?
Yeah, well, there's that. It's a very real issue. It's a great question. How do they respond? I think with a lot of confidence, because that's how Deion does. But the other question, too, logistically, what happens when, obviously, you're not going to throw anywhere near Travis Hunter anymore? Travis Hunter had one pick that was pretty much changed the game, but he got his hands on 15 footballs. So you're not going to throw it. So there's going to be strategic things. Now there's a little bit of tape. You know, you're going to probably do something different against Shedeur Sanders. You're going to look at, I assume Nebraska will be like, that dude just threw for 500 yards. Whatever he did, TCU did, let's do the opposite. I don't know what it is, but you're right.
Coaching.
The challenge, actually, it's funny because I get this win. The challenge becomes so much harder, right? I mean, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's some expectations. We're not sneaking up on anybody. The opposite. You're right. I think it gets harder for Colorado. I mean, obviously, I don't know. They're over under. I was looking over. It was either 3.5 or 4.5. Now, I mean, we're all betting over, right?
You got to.
But what if they start losing? Well, what does it matter? Because the proof of concept has worked. You can bring in all new transfers and beat a ranked team. I think he's already achieved something.
It's going to be crazy when the schedule does start to get a little bit harder with USC and Oregon both out there looming. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Want to hear from you on everything Colorado. Okay, coming up, hold your breath time for one Super Bowl hopeful. They were already missing one player due to a contract holdout. Now they could be missing another due to an injury. This is all breaking news sort of right now. We'll get you the latest as soon as we get back on the other side. It is Maggie and Perloff. We are on CBS Sports Radio. You want to watch the show? Come on in. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We say a hello to our CBS Sports Radio affiliates, who we absolutely adore. You can always download the Odyssey app. It's free. It's crystal clear. You can catch the show there, or SiriusXM channel 158. Coming back, injury news. This is going to be big, not just for a Super Bowl contender, but also for your fantasy team. Get all that for you on the other side. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
Do you believe that?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. One simple question. Do you believe? Give us a call if you are pro Deion, pro Colorado Buffs. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, Maggie T, some big NFL news. What do you got?
Yeah, this one not great. So the Kansas City Chiefs kick off the title defense on Thursday against the Detroit Lions, Perloff. We know they're in a contract standoff with Chris Jones, which is crazy that it's gotten this far and it's gone this far because he is their most important piece on defense. Well, more bad news. According to several NFL insiders, Travis Kelce suffered a hyperextended knee in practice today, which means he is now uncertain for Thursday's game, according to Andy Reid.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is really scary. I guess they took an MRI within the last hour. They're awaiting results. You know, you just hope that there's nothing, you know, you hear knee, you immediately think ACL.
Yep. Of course.
One thing I will say, if you're a Chiefs fan who's panicking, listen, you lost Tyreek Hill last year and you just stormed to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
no, there's
this
no
is
yeah,
different.
But what's different?
Kelce is different because I bet there was a time. I know Kelce has always been generous and takes less money because he really should be paid like a receiver. Yeah. He's paid like a tight end. But there was probably a moment, I imagine, when they had to make a choice between Kelce and Tyreek Hill, right? Or at some point, and it was like Kelce is the guy who they couldn't let go. Kelce has always been one of the most important pieces to that offense. I don't think he's as replaceable as you think.
I mean, you have the best quarterback, maybe the most talented quarterback of all time. Yeah, I totally think he's replaceable. I think that offense is going to be fine. I think the Jones injury is the Jones holdout is much more important because he is the entire defense. What do they got after him? Nothing.
I mean, I'm not going to stand here and take that George Karlaftis slander.
Well, at least you have Mahomes and other weapons. And I think you're facing a really good Lions offense. Even if Kelce doesn't play, your first concern is the defense.
Yes, Chris Jones is massively important. I guess maybe Samter put this on the poll. Who would be more important, or how do I put it? Who would be the bigger loss for the Chiefs week 1, to play without Chris Jones or to play without Travis Kelce? Now, we don't know that they're going to be without Kelce. All we know is that it's uncertain, so we're trying not to jump to conclusions. But I tell you, this is the rest of the Chiefs receiving core, and you're telling me what? You got Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore.
Yeah. I watched the Super Bowl. Those guys tore my Eagles apart.
Okay, well.
Tore them apart like they were like a knife through hot butter.
Well, and of course, the immortal Isaiah Pacheco as your running back.
First of all, they got that rookie Rashee Rice, who is the fastest guy on the team, even with a bunch of fast guys.
Yeah, but he's going to be playing in his first ever game.
Oh, yeah. Get him on your fantasy team. Apparently, he dropped everything in the preseason and still was their most impressive player. He's great.
That doesn't sound right.
And they have that kid, Justin Watson, of course, of University of Pennsylvania, Ivy Leaguer. I don't know. Is
that supposed to make me more feel better about things or worse?
I think that their receiving core is fine. I think they'll be okay in the short term. Obviously, if this is real. I mean, Travis Kelce's turning 34. You have to start thinking about this dude is not Tom Brady. He's not going to play tight end until he's 50 years old. So the Chiefs know that, and they're trying to bring in young talent anyway.
But who do you go to on third down? I mean, this has been the security blanket of Patrick Mahomes through their entire run together.
You know how Mahomes is. He'll find some nobody, the guy you barely even heard of. He'll hit for a 3rd and 18, and he'll find him 25 yards down the field.
I don't know. If the Detroit Lions, who I know have also been receiving a lot of hype, we're talking about hype teams today, Colorado being first and foremost after their win over TCU on Saturday. But, you know, the thing is, that Detroit offense is great. If they pick up where they left off last year, you've got to go score with them, And listen.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Chiefs we're talking about.
Okay.
Is there one team in history that could go score for score with anybody? I mean, they lost Tyreek Hill. I don't want to get into a Kelce, Tyreek. Actually, that sounds fun. But Tyreek Hill is. I mean, what did he do the next year in Miami? He just basically lit up the record book. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Nobody thought that the offense would suffer when he left, and it did not suffer in significant ways. So I think in the short term, they can figure out a way around Kelce. And come on, they have to start thinking about life post Kelce, right?
Well, yes, but as far as like Andy Reid, do I trust him to come up with a game plan?
Oh, yeah,
Definitely.
I didn't even think about that part.
But at the same time, like, you can't keep taking things away. And that's what it feels like with the Chiefs. You can't keep taking things away and not replenishing in a real way and expect to keep the offense the same, right?
Why not? You have Mahomes.
Okay.
You had Mahomes on one leg in the Super Bowl, and he was perfect.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, Sky Moore, okay, coming off of his rookie season. Kadarius Toney is always a wild card.
You're assuming Kadarius Toney's already hurt, and which he is, I think.
Or hurt, or getting ejected from the game, or just being a total weirdo.
Watch out for this kid, Rashee Rice. He is legit. Tony's amazing when he's on the field. I think nobody had a problem with his talent.
No, Toney when he's on the field is unreal. It's just getting him there. And he did get ejected from that Cowboys game a couple years ago when he was with the Giants.
Yeah, remember that game last year where Kelce had 4 touchdowns? I mean, he is an unstoppable force. The chemistry with Mahomes is incredible, but Mahomes seems to find it with everybody. I'd worry a little bit about the line there, too. They had some changes there. I understand what you're saying. Kelce's big. Chris Jones is everything to that team. I
can't believe it's gotten this far.
I know. Pay the man. Easy for me to say. So.
I know.
Not my money.
Yeah, Perloff, you're going to pony up. You got 5 on it for the Chiefs?
All right, one more hypothetical question. We'll get into more. Who would you pay first, Nick Bosa in San Francisco or Chris Jones in Kansas City?
Who's younger?
I don't know.
Imagine Bosa, right? How old is Chris Jones? Is he 30?
Chris Jones is 30?
I don't know. I might be making that up. He's 29. He's 29.
And Bosa's what, 26? Okay.
Yeah. I think you just got to pay the younger person in this instance, no?
Definitely.
And Bosa's the reigning defensive player of the year. I think I got to go with that.
Yeah, no, my only issue is the Chiefs need him more. The Niners need Nick Bosa. The Chiefs are desperate for Chris Jones because they are such a no-name defense.
Well,
always.
Clearly they're not. I mean, let's do 1 to 10 panic meter on a couple of these. If 1 being the littlest and 10 being the highest.
Okay.
If you're the Chiefs, where are you with Chris Jones on the panic meter? I'm a 10. The game's in 2 freaking days, and Travis Kelce just got hurt.
I'm at a 7 because the Chiefs defy expectations when it comes to losing players. Because of what they did without Tyreek Hill.
But that's on offense.
Yeah, but on defense, they have nobody. They basically haven't been able to tackle anybody for 4 years, and they've gotten 1-2 Super Bowls.
No, they always the defense always just gets a lot better right at the end of the season.
Yeah, and they weren't good against the Eagles, by the way, and they still came up with enough plays, sort of, to get through that game. So that's a 7. What other?
Nick Bosa. Another failure, I would say. The 49ers, it's amazing that and a credit to them that they're still Super Bowl contenders when they have mismanaged a couple really obvious situations here. Well, maybe Trey Lance wasn't obvious, but that ends up being a terrible trade. Never worked out with the draft pick for a variety of reasons that we've rehashed over and over again, but that's an L for the front office. And I think the Nick Bosa getting this far is an L for the front office. You have to go back to the Bosa's dad. Nick and Joey Bosa's father was a first-round draft pick. Ackerman, I think I'm remembering this right. Didn't he hold out when he was a first-round pick?
I don't believe so.
I thought he did.
I don't remember that.
I got to double-check it. They will hold out. Joey Bosa did it. Nick Bosa will do it.
I would say my panic meter is a 9 for them because I think the Niners are sneaky dependent on Nick Bosa. He's the closest to a quarterback in the league. Based on the fact that I watched him really closely in 2020, when he got hurt, the entire team lost their confidence. They gave up on the season.
Yeah.
So I'm really worried about that. They do have a lot more talent on defense than the Chiefs. You know what? Maybe 9. I'll go 8. I'm sorry. I'm going to backtrack 8. What do you got?
I mean, 10, 11, 12. I'm as high as you can possibly go on.
Well, so wait, just to
because
clarify.
You're starting off the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers,
who
that's tough. And listen, you can weather the storm, with an early season, with early season losses or whatever, and I'm not even sure that the 49ers are necessarily going to lose that game, you can weather the storm. The problem is, when do you get Bosa back? Is he going to be ready to go right from the jump?
That I'm not as worried about.
Okay, but I'm just saying there's a reason dudes, have preseason and training camp.
Yeah, I worry he could get hurt, but I mean, he'll be effective as soon as he's in there.
Okay, but then you also worry about, well, those would be my main two worries.
Yeah,
when's he coming back, and is he going to be in shape?
They paid a lot of money to get Javon Hargrave from the Eagles to bolster that defensive line, which was already insane. So they do have some options there. I wonder if that had anything to do with knowing Bosa was going to hold out. He wants to be the richest defensive player ever. Now, is there any defense for the team that they're trying to be smart here? They know they have a lot of guys to pay.
I think that you paid Deebo Samuel because he made a statement.
Oh, God, did he?
Okay. You have, if I'm talking about, missteps that the front office had, I guess you have to give them a total win for drafting Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft. So you have a cheap quarterback. So, you got a lot of guys to pay, but that's the luxury when you have a young, cheap QB.
Yeah, they already made, I think Fred Warner might be the highest paid linebacker, and they have Javon Hargrave is right up there. One guy who they might not be able to pay, I read this, was Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver. But is he that important? I mean, he's not Nick Bosa level important. So I think they're going to have tough choices to make. Bosa is the most important player there. You said panic, though, at 11. Don't you think the Niners will figure this out?
They have to. They don't have another choice.
All right, any other panics here?
Brian Burns of the Carolina Panthers has decided, with the season basically approaching, that now he's going to do a hold-in.
No panic at all, because I have no expectations for the Panthers. Right? Yes, I do think that he could hold in, but what's the difference? They don't have any. They're not trying to win anything this year, are they?
I mean, that division is definitely going to be open. I'm not handing it to the Falcons or the Saints. I mean, I think that it could be really competitive. 855-212-4CBS. Samter, do we have the poll up, sir?
We do, and it's shocking to me. 84% go Travis Kelce would be a bigger loss than Chris Jones. I don't know. It's just kind of like what you guys said. Patrick Mahomes is the classic equalizer. I mean, he can make do with whoever. Losing Chris Jones, I don't know how they make up for that.
855-212-4CBS. You're welcome to jump in. Again, we're keeping our eye on this Travis Kelce situation. Coming up, of course, you're welcome to weigh in on Colorado. That's going to be the theme of the day. Top of the hour, Kordell Stewart, former Colorado quarterback, Buffalo's Hall of Famer, is going to join us. Of course, was also a Pro Bowler with the Steelers. He will join us top of the hour. Coming up next, how is this Cowboys team different than any of the Mike McCarthy era? The Dallas coach will explain. And just a hint, it's got nothing to do with X's and O's. Get to that in just a moment. After this CBS Sports Update, here is Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. The defending champion Chiefs might open the season without Travis Kelce. The all-world tight end suffered a hyperextended knee, putting his status for Thursday up in the air. He has gone for an MRI, and there is no movement in the stalemate with holdout Chris Jones. Colorado and Duke both moved into the top 25 after their big wins in their season openers. The Blue Devils are 21st after stunning Clemson last night. The Buffaloes 22nd after crushing TCU in Deion Sanders' debut at Colorado. Georgia remains number one. At the U.S. Open today, Coco Gauff becomes the first American teenager to make the semis in the U.S. Open since Serena Williams in 2001. She was a straight sets winner over Yelena Ostapenko. Right now, Novak Djokovic leads Taylor Fritz 2-0. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Stu is back from his vacation where he has promised us a pretty amazing story.
I got this. I got Defensive Player of the Week. Easy.
Something from Clemson Duke last night?
Nope.
I mean, there's a lot of fumbles, interceptions, and turnovers on downs.
What team have we been talking about all day?
Oh, Colorado. Travis Hunter.
It's Travis Hunter. Has to be Travis Hunter, right?
Gotta be.
Had the interception, the 3 passes defended, and, of course, the impact on the other side of the ball, 11 catches for 119 yards.
Yeah, by the way, that defense gave up 550 yards and 42 points, and he still got Defensive Player of the Week. But I was going to say, nobody in America played even a lick of defense all weekend long, so there weren't a lot of choices.
No, I'm saying Duke last night, although that was a weird one for Clemson.
I don't know if
I don't know if it was great defense. It was just Clemson misfire after misfire after misfire right on the goal line. It is so frustrating to watch the Tigers, or any team, quite frankly. How do you run 5 plays inside like the 2-yard line and come away with no points?
I'm a little obsessed with the Duke quarterback, Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Not because of football. His basketball highlights went viral last night.
Yep.
That guy is a flat-out baller. He was doing 360s in games.
It's funny because, ironically, the Duke basketball team is probably the one team he can't make.
Yeah. He said he played pickup, and he played against Paolo Banchero once and decided he's not coming out for the basketball team ever. He's like, it's a different thing. Yeah. But his dad was a college basketball player, not a football player. And by the way, Drake May's brother was Luke May from North Carolina. I love a good basketball-football tie-in, although the 2 quarterbacks with the best college and high school careers are Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. So it doesn't always equate to success.
Well, I mean, Jones got like $90 million guaranteed.
Drew Lock.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gino's got that job for sure out in Seattle. Okay, Stu, what was the big story? So you went to the Grand Canyon.
Yes, I did. Atlantic City, not this past weekend, but the weekend before.
Okay.
Straight to Vegas, which included the Grand Canyon.
Wait, you went AC straight to Vegas?
Yes.
You might be the only person in the history of the world who's done that.
It was kind of crazy. The girlfriend and her sister had a concert in AC, so that's how that happened.
Okay.
That was just kind of
what concert?
It was a country concert. I forget the name of it, but it was one of those country concerts.
Okay.
And then Vegas, and then after coming up from Vegas, I moved. So it was a hectic week.
Oh, jeez. Moving's the worst. We already went through that with our bracket of the worst stuff.
It's up there.
Did you lose any money?
Yes. I lost $60. Between Atlantic City and 2 Vegas casinos, I lost $60 in probably 10 minutes. Maybe a little more. I might be exaggerating. It might be like 20 to 30 minutes, but it was very quick, painless and painful at the same time.
Was it blackjack?
No, it was a lot of slots.
Yeah, all right.
That'll get you every time.
$60 in slots in how long?
Oh man, it was quick. It had to be 20-something minutes.
Yeah, it's not
so
much.
Fast. But Grand Canyon was amazing. This might be blasphemy for someone who lives in New York, but I think I had the best pizza I've ever had at this place called Pizza Rock.
Okay.
On Fremont Street.
I've been there.
You have.
It was so good.
Did you get the New York one?
I don't remember. I mean, that was
because they have like different ones. They have like the Detroit, Chicago, all of them. But I got the New York one, and it is at least up there in the best pizzas I've ever had.
Wait.
Yes, it's by the Golden Nugget. It's on Fremont
Street. Yeah,
Fremont Street. Which, by the way, like a little dicey on Fremont
Which
Street.
I didn't even know was a thing. I thought the Strip was the main thing, and then people were telling us to go to This is way off the Strip. People are telling us to go to Fremont Street. We're like, all right, let's check it out. And yeah, it was a little crazy. Let's just say
it's a little more like Bourbon Street.
Yes,
that kind of feel.
Yes,
but there's some high end stuff kind of sprinkled in, and it is like I remember going there. It was right before the Raiders moved, and I was like, somebody is going to get hurt here. You mix all the Raider fans and like the energy of the other Strip. Perloff, you've never been to Fremont Street?
Is that the old school?
Yeah.
I've been there many times. Yeah, it's I've never really stayed there. I've gambled a little bit. What's the one with the horseshoe? Binion's?
I don't.
Have you guys ever spent time at Binion's Casino? It's like
No.
it's amazing place. It's old school Vegas as you get. But I'm one of the, you can't say a non-New York pizza is the best pizza unless it's in Italy. What are you doing? Is it that good?
I'm one of those people. I've had great pizza outside of New York. I don't care.
Where outside of New York?
The best pizza I've ever had in my life was at a restaurant in Crested Butte, Colorado.
That's ridiculous.
I will stand by
ridiculous.
You got to go 11,000 feet altitude. It was like sitting in a Nepalese mountain tent or something, and it was amazing. Might have been the altitude got to me a little, but
I'll give you maybe New Haven, Connecticut, but if it's not New Haven or New York,
I'm not
Rome,
a snob when it comes to that. There is great pizza all over this country.
There's not.
Yeah, there is. There's great pizza that's not New York pizza.
You guys are such snobs.
Well, I mean, are you talking about Chicago style? Because that's sort of a different product.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
like a
thick.
tomato pie.
Yeah. I mean, that's like saying a cheesesteak outside of Philadelphia is good, which is insanity.
Right, you can have great cheesesteaks, but like it's Philadelphia.
You can't.
You just can't have better cheesesteaks than Philly cheesesteaks.
You can't get a good cheesesteak outside of Philadelphia.
No, see, I'll argue with that. You can get good pizza outside of New York. You just can't get pizza as good as New York pizza outside of New York. You can get a good cheesesteak outside of Philly, just not as good as a Philly cheesesteak.
You guys got to open up your minds a little bit. I mean, there's a whole big world out there making all this good food.
Not going to happen.
Oh my gosh! If you order a cheesesteak, if we're on the road as a show anywhere, and anybody orders a cheesesteak, and we're not in Philadelphia or South Jersey, that's a real problem for me.
I mean, when are you going to eat your 4 cheesesteaks or whatever?
Oh yeah,
your food challenge.
This fall sometime when the Eagles are 9-0 or something. I don't know. I'm ready to do it. Ishkabibbles, what are we going with? We going with one of the high-end places or a local dive for cheesesteaks?
No, it's got to be a local dive.
Listen, you're the one eating it. Artist choice.
Yeah, so you're from upstate. What's the food that you must get in upstate New York?
The famous food where I'm from are called Speedies.
What
it's
are those?
Chicken or lamb, and it's like marinated basically in Italian dressing. You eat it on a soft Italian roll. That's it.
Sounds good.
That's the whole thing.
Great.
It's delicious.
You can't get a Speedy in Colorado. Not like Binghamton.
No, you can.
I figured it was wings, but maybe that's more of a Buffalo thing.
That's a Buffalo thing, yeah. What are we doing? Stu's vacation. Okay, 855-212-4CBS. The Atlantic City to Las Vegas is aggressive. The fact that you only lost $60 is a minor miracle. I thought you were going to say 600 at least.
Yeah, I mean, if I kept going, it could have been 600 very easily.
I have to ask.
Self-control, shocking.
What price were the slots? They obviously weren't nickel slots.
No, they weren't. So the first ones I did, I was doing like $1. But then I was going down to like 10 cents, and I was losing like almost every one.
You lost $60 in less than an hour on 10-cent slots.
It was not good luck.
You know what happened?
The last time I went to AC 2 years ago, I turned $20 into like 110. So this is just the total opposite.
The universe balancing.
It's balancing.
You know what happened though? You went through that slot machine and you did all that losing, and then the next person who sat down at that slot machine probably won.
The girl a couple slots down from us was having a grand old time, and she's just like fist pumping the whole time, and we passed her, and she had like $400 that she like in her whatever it's like account. I don't know what it's called, but it just had like $400 on it. I was like, geez, why couldn't we set it that machine?
Remember when you used to get like a cup, and it used to actually spit out coins and stuff?
Wait, that's not how slots work anymore?
This is like when I tell people I had like a rotary phone.
Wait. People aren't walking around with coins at a casino anymore? I never played. I thought that was the thing.
No, they don't do that anymore. It's like on a card or something, right?
That's so lame.
Yeah, they print out a ticket. You put a $1 bill in, and they print out a ticket for you with whatever you come home with. Which for me was like 35 cents or something like that.
YouTube.com. I can't even buy a Lucy with that. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Pete Tollner in the chat says, Perloff, Philly cheesesteaks at Ishkabibbles on me if your Eagles win the Super Bowl this year.
Done, Pete. In fact, they don't have to be on you. We'll be so happy. We'll celebrate with cheesesteaks.
Peter King made his Super Bowl pick. Eagles over Bills.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, he's trolling you guys.
That's what I thought. I'm like,
not really me because I'm used to winning Super Bowls. Maggie was in a state of complete breakdown this morning.
It's not like you're a Yankee fan and I've seen 5 championships. You've won 1. Get off that high horse.
We've been to another one in 5 years. I'm sorry. Just because you won Super Bowl 3 doesn't mean the Jets know what success is like Samter.
Yeah, Samter can't claim to have seen that one.
I guarantee it.
Quickly, Derek is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Derek, how's it going?
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Perloff. How's it going?
Great.
Dude, I just heard, Maggie, those two are out of their minds, okay? You can't get a good cheesesteak out of Philly. My dad out here, it's actually in Camp Hill, PA, owns a Philadelphia cheesesteak restaurant. It's been there 35 years.
Thank you.
We get rolls from Philly every single day.
That's basically close enough to Philly to count, though.
I mean, it depends on the roll. See, that's the thing that most people don't get. We get Liscio's rolls delivered daily every single day.
There you go.
That's the big difference.
You know, Derek, we'll put you on hold if you want to. No pressure. Feel free to send one by. Perloff might eat it on the air.
Oh, heck yeah.
You can send one in the mail, right?
I don't know about that. He said they mail them fresh every day. He's right, though.
Don't put that in the mail.
The bread is the key. And the best bread sometimes comes to South Jersey, too. So don't discount South Jersey cheesesteaks. They're amazing.
I'm just saying it doesn't. You can find good things outside of
everything's got great. I love barbecue, and that is the most regional food ever. You think you can get good barbecue where we are? No.
Yeah, you might have me there. It was so much better in Kansas City. It really was.
My God.
It was so much better.
Even the bad barbecue in Kansas City was better than anything we can get here.
Coming up, Kordell Stewart is going to join us. Everyone's on the Colorado bandwagon. We'll talk to the Buffaloes Hall of Famer and former Steelers Pro Bowler next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Was hanging out with Seth Rogen's mom in Europe.
And I actually
didn't even know it.
I didn't even know it.
Wait, what should we email Seth Rogen's mom? Can we do this all as a show? Can we have her?
Is that your Seth Rogen impersonator?
You sound like Beavis and Butthead. So we have to figure out what do we want to write to Seth Rogen's.
Let's ask Seth to come on the show and talk to the Weedham.
He would be like their Pied Piper.
She's going to get him to do a cameo. That's what's going to end up happening.
Where are we going to pay? What a deal. Way to know people in high places.
She'll get a 25% off discount.
I know what the cameo would say. Hey, I heard you were on a cruise with my mom. Cool.
And that costs $600.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
It's Deion's World. We're all living in it. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, reacting off a major weekend in college football. Headlined by the Colorado Buffaloes, upset over TCU on the road. Perloff, Colorado is back. And for that, we turn to a Colorado legend, a Buffaloes Hall of Famer, former quarterback Kordell Stewart joins the show. Kordell, it's Maggie and Perloff. How you doing?
Maggie and Perloff, how you guys doing?
Man, we're doing excellent. I imagine you've been on a lot of fun Colorado text threads and stuff this weekend. What did Saturday's win mean to the program?
Well, I mean, it was one of the greatest wins I honestly can say we've had in an extremely long time. And okay.
Wait, Kordell, are you in the drive-thru?
I'm at Burger King, guys. I'm at Burger King. I'm at Burger King. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get a meal. I'm trying to get the number one with cheese, no onion, extra pickles, and a large, and they get a Dr. Pepper, and they're telling me I got to go through the drive-thru, and I just went through the drive-thru. What are we doing here? God,
I mean, that's just awful.
But,
that sounds amazing, by the way.
Wait, did you get the order in? We got to make sure you get some food.
Well, no, I put the order in. Listen, guys, I'm talking like we're not even on the radio, right? Dude, I set up here, and I made the order. She gets me to the window and tells me I didn't make the order. I just did. I just told her. But back to what your question was.
What a pro.
I know, right?
What a Slash is right, you know? You can play multiple positions on the football field, and you can be on a radio show and order at the Burger King drive-thru.
Come on, man. Hey, that's how it works sometimes. But look, the game that was played this past Saturday, for me, after being a part of the program, and I don't just mean a former player, I mean going back, meeting every single coach, to the ebbs and flows of success and failures we've had and no consistency, to see what we saw on the football field, truthfully, from all four receivers catching over 100 yards to Dylan Edwards touching the ball 11 times out of the backfield for 159 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Shador shattering the record in the season opener at 510 yards passing. Of course, Travis Hunter being a multi-talented player in the game, something we haven't seen on the collegiate level openly, to where we are purposely doing it, and it's a conversation that's being had about it, and you know it's coming, and you couldn't stop it still. That gets me excited as a former player on the National Football League, after playing on the National Football League level in that capacity, and having so much controversy about it, because you never thought from a conventional standpoint that it could actually happen, and it did. And now we're seeing a coach that believes in it,
that's going to do it, going to tell you how it works, and it's working, you just want to continue to see it because there's so many kids back at home where I'm from in New Orleans that play the game this way to the point where they're asked questions of, well, what position you want to play, or this is the only way that we're bringing you in here to be a part of it. And I will say to the scouts, to the organizations on the next level, get someone in the offices that understands that style to where you won't change it, but if anything, you use it to better your team to where now they have to see all of this stuff. And it's great to see it happening in Colorado. It's different, of course, in the sense of how we normally, quote-unquote, air quotes, see it. And it's being done by a guy that actually done it the same way. It's pretty simple. Playing receiver, playing corner, kick return, punt return, playing baseball, playing in the World Series, playing in Super Bowls and winning. I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect match.
Kordell, can you talk a little bit more? What exactly is that style? I mean, can you have a whole team of guys who don't fit into traditional roles? Like somebody's got to be an offensive lineman or something, I think. But how does it work, and what exactly do you mean by that style?
Well, here's the thing. I can't think of the lineman defensive end's name that came from Georgia that ran a 4.4 and a 40. And he's now in the National Football League. Now, you answer that question for me.
Trayvon Walker.
Do you want your there you go. Do you want your quarterback to just sit in the pocket all day?
No.
And just lead the defense, quote unquote, all day long, and just say, well, because he's not accurate enough. Come on, they say the same thing about Jalen Hurts. When is he going to become a quote unquote pro passing? The dude just took his team to a Super Bowl. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Let's be transparent. He outplayed him. It just so happened that dude, in an unconventional way, Patrick Mahomes, did it differently than most, throwing it from underneath, from different angles, different trajectories, if you will. And he just so happened getting the better end of the stick of winning the game. But Jalen Hurts plays some outstanding football. So the question is, do you bring an offensive lineman that runs a 4.4 and a 40? You might want to get him close to a 4.6, 4.7 because if that guy's coming off the edge and he's if you will, like coming really tight on the edge, your offensive lineman is going to have some great feet to be able to move. So that's what we're evolving to. It's not you're bench pressing 500 pounds all day, you're squatting everything, you're eating all these different, vitamins to get big and swollen, and all of a sudden now when it's time to play, you can't move. That guy doesn't exist too often anymore. He has to be agile. You got this kettlebell workout stuff now where everything is about quick twitch muscles, to the point where you have to be athletic in order to compete on the level in which we're going in. And I think Travis Hunter has proven that this past weekend, that you have to deal with that. Like, come on, he's reading it on the goal line after he just caught 4 or 5 passes in a series or so, and he's reading through the receiver to the quarterback. When the guy goes across his face, as the receiver goes across his face, he sees what's coming out of the backfield. He peels off of that and go and catch the interception. He comes back later down the road. He catches pretty much on the winning drive. The catches to put him in position, I think it was 4th and 9 or whatever, 4th and 12. He catches the crossing route to keep the drive alive. It's something where, as an analyst, podcast host, co-host, radio co-host, host, you're going to have to really pay attention to it and call it for what you see. Now, the question becomes, can it last throughout a season? Sure. That question is one that you can ask. But it's not an accident that we're seeing it. It's just Coach Prime is the first one to actually do it. There's so many kids. I was one of those kids. And so when you bring someone else in to do it the conventional way, it doesn't work. You have to go back to that again. At some point in time, you have to say, okay, you know what? They're going to say, well, you were ahead of your time, Kordell. No, I'm just going to say they had no one in there prepared to do that.
Right.
And those kids are everywhere in the country. It's not an accident. This is not brand new. It's been Deion did it. I did it. I mean, Shannon Sharp was doing it. Think of Shannon Sharp at the tight end position. He was playing receiver, but he was written down as a tight end. It's been going on forever. We just don't pay attention to it enough and respect it to the point where we can talk about it the right way, to where we say it matters. Now it's starting to matter. It's starting to matter. You got Jalen Hurts, number one of the top paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. How does that look? Is that conventional? It's not. Lamar Jackson, look at his situation. Identical. Look at Richardson coming from Florida, who's now the starting quarterback with Indy, who's 6'4", running a 4.4 and a 40, weighing 200, and you pick the number. And then all of a sudden you look at Young, you look at Stroud. It's the same thing, guys, and we are blind to the fact that this talent has been existing forever. We just have not had the right people in place to do it. But Coach Prime has proven a point. If you have the right guy in there, it can work.
Wait, Kordell Stewart is joining us, Colorado Buffaloes Hall of Famer, of course, Pro Bowler in the NFL. But can Travis Hunter play 130 snaps a game all season long?
You have to ask him that question because that's a lot. But again, we're talking about conventional thinking, right? We're thinking conventionally. We're not thinking of how many players. Answer this question. Let's think of Alabama, one of the top-notch programs in the country. How many players you think are on that team that's like a Travis Hunter?
Probably a few. I mean, Deion says that you have to be elite on one side of the ball in order to pull this off. Like, you can't just be good on both sides of the ball. You have to be elite on one side of the ball. So probably maybe a few, but not many, right? This is reserved for only the best of the best.
How many elite players do you have at Alabama? That's all top. That's all.
Yeah.
5 stars, right?
No, I get your point.
That's why I picked Alabama. You know, I mean, we can go to Georgia if you want to, because Kirby Smart, you have to believe he's recruiting the same exact way, right?
Yeah.
So when you put this in perspective, you will never know until you see it. So because we've seen it conventionally, going back to conventional ways of thinking, because we can't see it, we can't understand it. I'm telling you factually, there, Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, just start thinking about it as we're talking, and think of the players that we've seen that's been multi-talented players. But because Antonio Brown, another player. That's just a few. We haven't really dove into really thinking about how we've seen players play the game that are capable of doing it. You just don't have the staff that are mentally prepared or willing, and owners because there's money involved. So there's the politics, right? But do we take a chance on putting this player at wide receiver and corner that we know can run a 4.4, 4.3, and a 40. Their vertical jumps are 30 or better. Their standing broad jumps are 10.5 or more. They're smarter on the Wonderlic test. They just are bona fide athletes and players. But when we make the changes is when the age changes. So, for example, in Pittsburgh, we had a Cornell Lake who was a safety throughout his career. Then we needed him to play corner. Rod Woodson, he went from corner, then went to safety. Do you think Rod Woodson could have played that way throughout his entire career with changing and maybe doing some kickoff and punt return? It's no different. It's just we have to fixate our minds around it and start identifying the great and elite talent that's out there that has the ability to do it. Travis is not a one-off. That's why Coach Prime is somewhat that one-off, right? That played corner, that played receiver, that also did punt return and kick return. He kind of becomes that guy, right?
And baseball.
He sees that in Travis, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to put him on the field, take him out when he needs to from offense because they need him on defense, but take him out on offense and give him a breather or two, and allow him to be him. And guess what? If in practice you're conditioning him that way, don't you think he'll be able to do it throughout a game in the season? Yes, he will, because he's getting conditioned for it. If you want to run the football, ask the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1997 when the Baltimore Ravens knew we were coming to a certain side, and they overloaded the side, and we still came and got a 6-yard gain. And guess what we did the next time? We came back and ran that same play again. And so when you get conditioned, if you have the ability to do it, yes, it can work. I was doing it since I was in elementary school, playing wide receiver, running back, D lineman, linebacker, corner, safety, quarterback, and getting the National Football League and do exactly what I wanted to do, the way I wanted to do it. I can't help it that they wanted to put Ken Graham in and couldn't stay healthy, or whoever else, and you depend on me to come back in and we win. I'm just saying. So once you identify it, you see it, the question becomes, do you believe in it? And as reporters or analysts, if you believe in it, you do. If you don't, that's your opinion. You have the right to not believe in it, but it's real. And we have it there in Colorado with Travis Hunter and Coach Prime.
Real quick, Kordell, you came in the league in '95 when obviously people viewed quarterbacks differently. You were still a second-round pick. Do you ever have any ill will towards the money some of these quarterbacks are making right now, maybe think about, well, what if I'd come into the league 20 years later?
Ooh, boy, I tell you what, dude. I tell you, reparations is good, though. You have to at least get 10% from somebody somewhere. You know what I mean? Work with me a little bit here. But I'll say this. You know, I had my run. It was a great time. It was tough. It wasn't easy. But there's a lot of great things that I did do in the National Football League, particularly with the Steelers. 75 throwing touchdowns, 35 rushing, and 5 receiving. That's never been done by an athlete in the history of the game. Think about that. Now, you may say, well, Kordell has been throwing for, over a career, a span of however many years, and I did that in, 6 years, or 6 years is, 7 or 8 years. I started as a quarterback in 6 years. So, I know Patrick Mahomes probably put up 150 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Okay, I get Cam Newton may have put up 40-plus touchdowns, but neither one of those guys have caught 5 touchdowns.
There you go.
Kordell.
So when you
sorry.
see where I'm coming from, guys. So when you guys get a chance to really digest this thing, yes, I do get a little itchy sometimes. I think about this money that they're getting. I have to be honest with you. But it's their time, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I'm happy I'm healthy and here to witness it, and all I can do is cheer from afar and feel real good that, I put in the work, and it's finally paying off holistically to where you got 3 guys out of the first 4 picks in the 2023 draft that played the game the way I did, and you got 2 of the highest paid players in the National Football League, quarterbacks, that played the game the way I did. That means everybody are paying attention. So it's a good thing.
Kordell, we're flat out of time, although I should tell you, Perloff said when you're talking about the Steelers this year, you have to be talking or thinking Super Bowl. They have to be in the conversation. We'll have to have you on another time to talk about the Steelers because we're flat out of time. But thank you so much, and enjoy the number 1 with the pickles and the whatever.
Thank y'all. Be good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Kordell Stewart, Colorado Buffaloes Hall of Famer and former Pro Bowler with the Steelers.
You know where he got me? When he added that Dr. Pepper to the order. That's my favorite liquid on planet Earth is Dr. Pepper.
You do love it.
Oh, man, I was always a Burger King over McDonald's guy. Just going to say it.
Wow. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Love a Whopper Jr. when I was a kid.
But we used to drive up to my grandparents in upstate New York and pass the Wendy's in Binghamton. Yep. That was my go-to. Frosty, chili, yes.
I know. It's like, Kordell didn't bring enough for the class, huh? Can't share it.
Yeah.
Food.
Unfortunately, I think everybody missed the first minute of him talking about Colorado because they were salivating too much at the hamburger order.
Oh, man. All right, coming up, who took the biggest L in college football this weekend? We've been talking a lot about Colorado and some of the great things that happened, but who was on the wrong side of the ledger? We'll get to that in just moments. It is Maggie and Perloff, 855-212-4CBS. Don't move. We're on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Oh my gosh, I was just in the hallway and I interrupted 3 Deion conversations.
The top 25 has just been released.
Yeah, 22.
22. That's where Colorado finds themselves. Cracked the top 25 after the win at TCU. And so now the hype train really starts to pick up more steam here as Colorado will take on Nebraska. Now that's at home this upcoming weekend. Now, what I also found interesting about the top 25 that just got released, Perloff, Clemson still in the top 25, hanging on in the 25th spot. And after they lost at Duke yesterday, I mean, listen, it's been eye-opening, and the people who are, diehard Clemson fans, they've been frustrated by Dabo Swinney and his refusal to go into the transfer portal, especially for wide receivers. And it was clear that a big playmaker was missing last night. Now, it was also clear that those types of miscues that Clemson was having in the red zone are like mind-boggling. I know it's the first week of the season, but the fact that they looked that like the lack of composure in the red zone was alarming.
Yeah, my friend Big Dave Alungalele, DJ's dad, he complained to anyone who would listen my friend, I've taken 2 pictures with the man. He's the biggest man in the world. That Clemson just will not go to the transfer portal for wide receivers, which seems like a position that is really tailored to wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Jordan Addison at USC, and I go down the list. So DJU kills it at Oregon State week 1. Looks like he's back on track to be another first-round pick, former number 1 overall recruit. And Clemson and Cade Klubnik, who was like the top 5 recruit, can't do anything on offense. Dabo is so obviously behind the times. It's almost like too obvious to even say, because he always said, no, I'm going to figure it out. Brought in new assistant coaches, and they haven't figured it out at all.
Yeah, and honestly, like the reasons behind the stubbornness, I guess, is like to be loyal to the recruiting class. Yeah. I don't think it's working. And now you got, 2 weeks before you play Florida State, who, by the way, Keon Coleman, who is a transfer from Michigan State, who went to FSU, was amazing in their win over LSU. So, yes, for wide receiver, the transfer portal can be such a difference maker. You're right about that. And I think it's frustrating for the Clemson fans because this was also a program that was known for wide receivers. They were the ones who were churning out and pumping out the wide receivers going to the NFL, like the DeAndre Hopkins and the Mike Williams and the Hunter Renfros and, the Sammy Watkins and guys who are just incredible. And now you don't have those kind of playmakers. And so Clemson is in a tough spot here.
Well, I would caution you a little bit, everybody, not you in specific. It is week 1. Just realize a lot of people are panicking about different situations, but week 1 is very, very deceiving in college.
Here's Dabo Swinney on the loss to Duke last night.
An incredibly disappointing loss. That's honestly all my years of football. I've never been a part of a game like that, ever. Since I've been the head coach, we were 58-0 when we rushed for 200 and passed for 200. Never lost, ever. But you got to finish. And obviously we did not do that.
You brought in Garrett Riley as the offensive coordinator, brother of Lincoln Riley, who was at TCU last year, and you scored 7 points. They did not score after halftime. The game log, like if you look at how the drives ended in the second half, it almost looks not real. Missed field goal, fumble, turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs. Just wild. But I don't know if that was the worst loss of the weekend because LSU getting absolutely smoked by Florida State was also noticeable.
Well, yeah, losing to Florida State and losing to Duke in football.
Oh, no, very different. I get it. Florida State is legit.
This is definitely the worst. But again, week one, LSU lost early last year, too, and came back and looked really good. And by the way, all these teams, even this Clemson-Duke game, as crazy as it was, you never know. I'm just saying Clemson could turn it around.
So what is it? Is it 2 weeks to 3 weeks until Clemson and FSU face each other? I believe it's 2 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from today. Got to double check the schedule. What made this loss by LSU to FSU just sting a little bit more is here was Brian Kelly on the Brian Kelly Show before the game.
There are still some areas that need to be improved. Nearly 40% of this travel roster are going to go overnight for the first time with LSU. So, and that's not a disclaimer of any kind. We're going to go beat the heck out of Florida State. But,
well, then the game happened, and it was close. They actually were leading at halftime and got absolutely torched in the second half. This was Kelly after the loss, on the embarrassing loss to FSU.
We certainly are not the football team that I thought we were. Got to do a much better job, obviously, developing our football team. This is a total failure on a coaching standpoint and a player standpoint that, we have to obviously address.
Yeah, and, listen, I think Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback, so I think that he will respond. The head-scratching part of this was really, I think, on the defensive side with Harold Perkins, who had this unbelievable breakout season last year, Perloff, as a freshman, all over, like the next Micah Parsons, and then they moved him to, off-ball linebacker, and he basically stood there. This is not his fault. I think this was a change in position where he was not impacting the game in a meaningful way at all.
Yeah, but again, you know what happened last year when they lost Florida State?
Well, that was on a blocked PAT.
Right.
It was a blocked PAT
But this game,
at the end of the game. This was a blowout.
Yeah, but I mean,
in the second half, this was.
Wait, what was the score at halftime? It was.
No,
it was
LSU
tied,
was
right?
leading at halftime, but then FSU came out and scored, 3 unanswered touchdowns?
Well, okay, put this all together. Brian Kelly said 40% of my team has never traveled overnight. And they were going, Florida State is a very veteran team.
Of course.
Extremely veteran team. So I think, yes, this is not good, but this doesn't spell doom for me by any means. Because I never thought LSU was going to go undefeated and win the national title.
I didn't either.
But last year they won 9 out of 10 in a row after that Florida State loss, that was a bad one because Florida State wasn't supposed to be good. Florida State's a top 5 team. This is okay, right?
Well, okay. It was a close loss last year. This time, not so much.
To an unranked Florida State team. This is a top 5 Florida State team. I don't know. This did not make me worry too much about the program. And also, like you said, listen, Florida State has a lot of pros.
Florida State looks great.
So I'm not too worried. One more team that everyone's worried about. I know we're going to talk. Ohio State.
Yes. They won.
23-3, right?
Beat Indiana. Yep.
Last year, remember people forget they beat Notre Dame 21-10, and everyone panicked about that offense.
Yeah, they were trailing, I believe, at halftime too.
I think they scored 49 or more in their next 8 games.
Yes.
Like these teams, week 1 is an anomaly a lot of times, and then boom, they're going to turn it on like a faucet.
Okay, but the thing about Ohio State last year is that you knew more what you had in C.J. Stroud, where you did.
You did, but still, though, I mean, there's so much talent there.
Of course, the defense for Ohio State I thought looked really good against Indiana. The offense is what looked disjointed.
But they looked terrible against Notre Dame, too. Remember? C.J. Stroud looked awful. Remember, he was like a preseason top 5 pick, and then he struggled against Notre Dame, and everyone immediately took him out.
Well, but he had a good second half. They ended up winning the game. I didn't think that Kyle McCord just didn't really showcase really a lot. Now, that could change, and guys can grow and change and mature through the season, but they weren't getting a lot from the run game, and McCord was very average.
Yeah, but I think he was fine. Actually, Stroud was pretty bad in that Notre Dame game. That first Notre Dame game?
Yeah, but they ended up coming back and winning.
21-10. For them, that was one of their worst games of the year. But you don't remember everyone writing off Stroud a little bit? It was down. Like, he was the hot guy, obviously. And then everyone said, okay, Ohio State's going to not work. And then they figured it out. We could go 180 on every single one of these storylines next week, except Florida State, who's legit.
So between LSU and Clemson.
Oh, Clemson's dead.
You just said that.
Yeah,
LSU, you said don't write them off.
LSU, I like
Clemson
LSU. I like LSU. Clemson, forget.
Who's writing who off?
And
now?
I like Ohio State too.
Well, Ohio State won. They did drop out of, what did they start the season, I believe, ranked number 3. The new rankings just came out. They did drop down to 5.
Okay. LSU, just so they have a makeup game against Grambling.
Yep.
Then they have at Mississippi State, Arkansas, and at Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, Army. They have a real run where they can collect some wins and sort of figure out who they are. Would you agree that a lot of college football teams take some time to figure out who they are?
Without
just based on the nature of the sport. So
Without
I'm just saying,
Oregon got smoked last year by Georgia in the opener, and they went on to have a great season.
Great one. Yeah. So I feel that people do overreact to week 1 in college football.
That's what it's here for.
Yeah.
Florida State is now 4th. So it goes Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Florida State, Ohio State, then USC, Penn State, Washington, Tennessee, Notre Dame. That rounds out your top 10 with Texas sitting there at 11.
Gosh, all those teams look really good.
Yep. We get the big Alabama-Texas game this Saturday.
It's so hard. You know what my timeline on social media is filled with? Notre Dame hype. But they've played such sort of middling teams that I worry about it. But still, oh my gosh, Sam Hartman did it again. If you had to do there looks like we're on pace, Maggie, to have 15 quarterbacks who have 40 touchdowns and less than 10 picks.
This might be one of the great quarterback drafts. I know people say that a lot, but if you're looking at, we're talking about Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
We're talking about Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
We're talking about, of course, Caleb Williams and Drake May. We were talking about them before the season. You're talking about Jalen Milroe, I thought had a good game.
I don't think he's quite draft ready.
This is Samter's SEC quarterback draft. He was the big winner. Obviously, Michael Penix. Clearly, there's just Cam Ward. There's so much. DJU, you mentioned before.
Joe Milton, Tennessee. Ooh.
Maybe has the best arm of all these guys. Wild.
Yeah, he's
I'm
incredible.
sure there's guys we're forgetting.
Well, you know, the only thing that can hurt this draft class is if quarterbacks look at, ooh, all these quarterbacks are coming out. I'm going to stay and go next year because it's just too crowded right now.
I think what it's going to equate to is a lot of NFL teams whose seasons maybe go off the rails or suffer some injuries try to go full bottom out.
Well, maybe they say, well, I could get one of these guys at 14. Why do I have to bottom out to 3?
Because what do we do with quarterbacks? Push them up and up and up during the pre-draft process.
Justin Fields fell to 11, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Well, that might have been a couple.
Could all 32 first-round picks be quarterbacks this year?
Are we headed that way?
Just every team has to draft the quarterback this year. Speaking of quarterbacks, we talked about the SEC draft. We have a very huge decision to make about moving forward with this quarterback draft.
Right. So earlier in the year, we did an SEC quarterback draft, and we all picked 4 QBs, and this is who we're riding with throughout the year. Now, with week 1 in the books, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Samter, your leader in the clubhouse with KJ Jefferson, Spencer Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Brady Cook. Stu had after the draft, I believe Yahoo gave you the highest grade on your fantasy draft.
That's never good. That's always means you did the worst.
And you are dead last, my friend, with Devin Leary, Carson Beck, Peyton Thorne, and Graham Mertz. Perloff and I are right snug in the middle. Perloff has beat me this week. Joe Milton, Will Rogers, Jackson Dart, Tyler Buckner, and I have Jaden Daniels, Connor Wegman, Spencer Rattler, and Ty Simpson.
Okay. A lot of these are like 59-3 blowouts. A lot of these quarterbacks. Yes. So I don't know what any of this means.
So the real question is, like, Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner played like 5 snaps each. Spencer Sanders played because Jackson Dart blew them out so badly he got into the game. So the question is, like, there's no chance that we're all going to be able to contend moving forward if we have all 4 quarterbacks, considering 3 of us have backups, and who knows what Stu's going to have as well. So the question is, do we just take, whether it's before the week we choose our best 3 or after the week we take our best 3 scores?
No, I think you got to choose your top 3.
Okay.
Before the game.
So
it's like a start
So moving forward, we're not going to have all 4 quarterbacks. We'll
you
just
got to do it
3.
before. This is like if you're doing true fantasy, you'd be like start 'em, sit 'em.
So this week, since we didn't do a start 'em, sit 'em, do we use all 4, or do we just kind of say, okay, take your top 3 and forget about your worst quarterback this week?
No, I think this week we're just going with this week.
Okay, because I looked at it. I did the numbers.
Stu.
Maggie, your points totals go down from 73 to 65. Perloff goes from 88 to 80. Mine goes from 97 to 84. And Stu goes from 57 to 46. So there is a significant difference. Perloff closes the gap if you actually take away our worst quarterback.
But this is such a silly week because Alabama, all 3 quarterbacks ran in touchdowns.
I know.
Dude, Spencer Sanders was the backup quarterback. He got me 14 points this week.
But the most ridiculous thing, Maggie had a quarterback, Connor Wegman at Texas A&M, who threw like 16 passes and 5 of them were touchdowns. None of this means anything. This is not a real week.
I think we starting next week, starting week 2, this upcoming week. That's when you have to sit somebody.
You know, there's a reason I didn't draft any Alabama quarterbers because I knew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this unfair to Stu?
I would have drafted differently if I knew we could only start 3.
You know what? Okay. Listen, I'm open to it. We can just all keep our quarterbacks in there.
It's going to make very little difference. Let's face it.
Yeah, my quarterbacks suck anyways. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, Stu. Listen, at some point, Carson Beck's going to turn it on. He's got to.
Actually, he absolutely does not have to turn it on. He could basically throw the ball 5 times a game and
who
win.
do they play next week?
Go 10-0.
Ball State?
Yeah.
Delaware? I don't know. Ball State, I think.
But you have Jaden Daniels. He can't play any worse, so he'll step it up.
That's
the guy I'm excited about, Joe Milton in Tennessee, is in complete command. Now, I don't know what that means moving forward, but I feel like he looks like a top 5 pick as well, right? I mean, he's gigantically tall, incredibly fast, and has the strongest arm in college football. So what's wrong there?
Your favorite quarterback performance, who are you getting behind in college football? Because there are so many good QBs out there. This is like the extra COVID year, the transfer portal. Did you know that JT Daniels is still playing in college football?
Rice.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Is he 30?
He's played for almost every major Division I team.
He's like gotta be, I don't know, he's like the Ish Smith or like, you know, like Kenny Lofton, like one of these guys that just played for every single team. He's like the Josh Johnson of college football.
Or Keaton. He's like the Keaton Slovis, who's actually somewhere right now.
Is he still playing? He must be.
Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah. Where is Keaton Slovis?
He's at, I was going to say he's at Pitt, but that's
BYU.
where he was before.
He's at BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah, so JT Daniels, I think, was in the room with Keaton Slovis at USC, definitely to West Virginia, now at Rice. I mean, poor Rice against Texas. They didn't stand a chance.
No, they didn't. But when I found out JT Daniels still playing, I'm like, oh, my God.
Did the thought cross your mind, is this JT Daniels' son?
Like, when I first heard JT Daniels when I was, like, listening to the DP show. Yeah. Long before we started a show. Wild. He's still out there doing his thing. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227.
By the way, he's 23. He's not even particularly that old.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's weird, right?
I don't know. Where did the time go? Okay, you're welcome to weigh in. The college quarterback you're throwing your weight behind. Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS. Of course, Shedeur Sanders with Colorado. The big debut for Deion Sanders could not have gone better. They upset TCU on the road, now sets up a must-watch against Nebraska. Coming up, we got a big question heading into the NFL season, which starts on Thursday. We do all that after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Well, the start of the NFL season is a little more than 48 hours away, and the Chiefs will likely be without Travis Kelce, who is now doubtful after the All-Pro tight end suffered a hyperextended knee at practice and went for an MRI. Georgia tops the AP poll once again, but the top 25 has two new entrants, with Duke coming in at number 21 after last night's win over Clemson. Colorado, off its stunning victory over TCU, is 22nd. Coco Gauff becomes the first American teenager since Serena Williams in 2001 to advance the U.S. Open semifinals. She was a straight sets winner over Yelena Ostapenko, and just moving on a couple of moments ago was Novak Djokovic, a straight sets winner over Taylor Fritz. The AL West remains as tight as can be, with the Mariners and Astros tied for the lead. Mariners have dropped back-to-back games following up their series loss by falling to the Reds in Cincinnati last night. The Astros opened their series in Texas with a resounding 13-6 win, and Framber Valdez will go against Nathan Eovaldi tonight, with the Rangers starter making his first start in 7 weeks. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Wednesday in the Jungle, former NFL MVP Sean Alexander and best-selling author Jeff Pearlman. See you Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To the show. Big news here as the NFL is going to kick off on Thursday with Chiefs and Lions. Travis Kelce hyperextends his knee in practice today. So a team that was already dealing with a Chris Jones holdout situation, which is not nothing. This is a big deal to lose your best defensive player all over contract stuff, Perloff. And we know from some of Chris Jones's tweets and other things, I mean, he's prepared to hold out. What do you say, like week 8?
Week 8.
So he's already got this timeline on it. How real that is, I don't know. But he's like willing to go toe-to-toe here. And now it's up to the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're going to go into this season without Chris Jones and now potentially without Kelce. It's a disaster.
Is it a disaster? I think disaster is too strong until we know. If Travis Kelce misses a week or two, the Chiefs are strong enough to be okay. I think it's a week 1 disaster. And your hunch in the break to take the Lions and the points sure seems spot on to me. But, I mean, listen, if Travis Kelce misses a week or two, this is a team that's going to win 13 games. So I think it's okay. And you know what? Maybe we're overreacting because Chris Jones are just playing hardball and they'll bring him in week 3 or 4. It does seem like it's an early season major issue. You know how I feel. Chris Jones is the defense.
Yeah. And
he's the entire defense.
Listen, you can ask Patrick Mahomes to do a lot. In fact, you can ask him to do more than you would ask any other quarterback because he can shoulder that kind of load. But you can't just take.
Yes, you can.
I don't know. And yes, losing they're still 5.5-point favorites in this game. But anything early on, you're right, can absolutely be weathered. However, you want to keep that home field advantage. You're always thinking it's not about week 1 or week 2. It's all about the playoffs. You want to have to stack those wins in the AFC. You want to make sure you're keeping home field advantage, which has, been amazing for you. Like, you don't want to go to Cincinnati to play an AFC championship game. You don't want to do any of that stuff.
Okay. Well, listen, think about Patrick Mahomes. He drops back. He's got fast receivers. He's got those running backs. I mean, it's not like he has nowhere to go with the ball. I know Kelce is his go-to safety blanket.
It's different.
He's got so many options. That offense can hit you in 1,000 different ways. And Detroit's defense, yes, they improved at the end of the year, but that doesn't worry me. I know that Patrick Mahomes is going to score on this team. To me, the much bigger concern is Chris Jones.
No doubt.
Because Detroit's a really well-run offense. They seem to be a really well-coached offense. They're going to take advantage. I would lean the over on this one. Did that come down at all? Did you happen to know with Kelce going out?
I only saw the line move. I believe the over-under is still very high, in the 50s.
Yeah.
53.5.
Ooh. All right, maybe I won't go the over. 53.5?
Yep.
Oh, boy. This is going to be a fun game.
Speaking of momentum from last season, let's get to our NFL preseason debate countdown.
NFL preseason debates countdown. 2 days.
2 days till we have NFL football. I'll tell you what, college, though, has really kind of scratched the itch.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good college games, but the NFL gets started on Thursday. So today's preseason debate, Perloff, does momentum from one season from another matter? The fact that the Steelers and the Detroit Lions, who are going to play Thursday, the fact they had these great endings to their seasons, will it carry over? Flip side, teams like, Buffalo, who had a tough loss in the playoffs, got whitewashed by Cincinnati. The Minnesota Vikings, who lost badly to the New York Giants in the playoffs. Yeah. Does the negative energy also carry over?
Well, 31 teams ended the season on a loss, so I think every case is different. The Lions... Yeah, listen, they have young stars who everyone expects to take a step up, and they showed up. Aiden Hutchinson and the defense are going to be better, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's a superstar wide receiver. So, yes, that's definitely going to carry over, right? I'm really bullish on the Lions. I know they're the overhyped team, probably, or the most hyped team. But, yeah, that run at the end of the season makes a big difference to me.
Yeah, to me, I'm not big on what happened last season plays into what happens the next season.
But what if the quarterback is young and then shows that he can play? Isn't that quarterbacks mature, and then you say, oh, that quarterback learned to play. I'm going to take him to have more wins next year.
Okay, so maybe that's the case for a Kenny Pickett or someone like that. I think Jared Goff kind of is who he is.
Right, but the team around him is so young. You can see them aging and getting to where they're supposed to be.
I never think that anything is linear. Just because you were good last year, to me, doesn't mean you're going to be good in the next year. Doesn't mean you're going to be better the year after that. I don't think it's a given. Yes, quarterbacks for sure and individual players, but as a team, I think every season really is different. You have to treat it as such because you're never going to recreate exactly what you had the year before.
What about Kenny Pickett, though?
Pickett, yes, he might just be a maturing quarterback, but that doesn't mean the team is going to necessarily all take a step forward just because he does.
It kind of feels that's how it works in the NFL, though. Jalen Hurts matured. You start to see the maturation.
He had a very good team around him.
Well,
maybe one of the best.
But, they went from 9-8, and he got better and better and better as that season went on. They lost to the Bucs in the playoffs. You could see, the light is clicked on for Jalen Hurts. So I think there was a good reason to think, that's going to carry over in the next year.
Right.
And it turned out it totally did. I think the light clicked on with that Lions offense halfway through the year. So I think that'll carry over. Same with Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. The flip side, though, Buffalo, they had a bad second half of the season, but how on earth are they going to recreate those situations? It was tragedy after tragedy.
Yeah, it was a lot mentally. It was, I think, a big toll. A lot of bad things happening in Buffalo, but then also a lot of inspiring things with DeMar Hamlin. But I think that the worry, I think, for Buffalo and maybe for Minnesota as well, which is, did teams sort of figure you out? More so, let's take the Bills, for example. Did the teams figure you out? If you're not able to evolve as an offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey, or if Josh Allen's not able to get rid of some of his bad turnovers, especially in the red zone, that means you're not going to take a step forward. It means the same problems that plagued you last season are going to carry over into this season. I guess it is possible, but I'm not a big momentum person. I think every season is its own thing.
Really? The Vikings, though, a little bit of a different case. They were 13-4, and their advanced analytics said they should have been 4-13.
Yes, right.
So
the one-score games.
I think the Bills and the Vikings are completely different cases. The Bills had a bunch of natural tragedies. They had the weather. They had the terrible thing that happened with Damar Hamlin. I think the Damar Hamlin thing completely knocked them off balance. At least it would have me. So I think that their season was an anomaly. The Vikings, however, they were getting more wins than the quality of their team, and you saw that in some of their wins. And of course, nobody was surprised when the Giants beat them in the playoffs. I did not sense everybody was already down on them. So to me, Vikings' lack of momentum will definitely carry over. Bills will not.
Coming up, Deion Sanders is calling out all the non-believers, but will the Hall of Fame coach be able to back up his words another week in a row? We'll get to all of that, including your phone calls. Again, 855-212-4CBS. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I think the whole industry and everybody who says that they're good at tasting wine is lying. I think it's the biggest mass lie.
It's all perpetrated by big wine.
In the history of mankind, there's no bigger lie than people can tell which wine is good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I love people who are like, I'm just tasting and spitting out and like, I'm not here to get loaded. Get out of here.
Wineries are the scenes of so many crimes. People get sloppy at wineries.
We were
like
at a
dress over your head type stuff. Once my husband and I, we were still dating, went to wine country, but took bikes.
I just had this image of you following your husband on a bike, just veering off slowly into the right, tipping over, and just like Maggie's asleep on the sidewalk.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, coming off a massive weekend in college football where Colorado is the headliner, Perloff. The only question is, are you a believer? And I know the answer is no.
What does that mean, I don't believe? Define not believe.
Going to a bowl game. It can't say college football national championship game. That's
pull that out of thin air.
No, I think going to a bowl game in Deion's first year as head coach of Colorado would constitute being a believer.
So after the game, Deion Sanders said, "Do you believe?" He never defined it as a bowl game.
Well, I'm defining it as a bowl game. That's what being a believer means to me. Yes.
Okay, this hype train, can it last? What happens if they lose a couple games, which, by the way, I'm not so convinced is going to happen anymore. But let's say hypothetically, this does not work as well, and they come back to earth. Are we still going to be so hyped about Deion?
I think so, and I think in honor of all the hype around Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, we should introduce the newest segment on the Maggie and Perloff show. Hit it, Stu.
Daily. Do you believe that?
Deion.
You believe that?
Yes. It's the Daily Deion, where every day we will bring you the latest quote from Deion Sanders. Now, not just any quote. We'll make sure to sift through and find the most ridiculous ones because we need peak Deion if we're going to give him this kind of billing on the show.
Is there any other coach in all of sports who you either root for or root against? I feel like Deion makes it so personal. Even me saying this right now, and I'm sure Deion's not listening, I feel like Deion is going to yell at me if I say anything negative about Colorado.
You're a non-believer.
He's coming after. Yeah, like I'm a non-believer. So if I thought that Texas didn't look great week one, does that mean I'm a non-believer in Texas? And if it does anyone on earth care? No, it's all about how you feel about Deion.
Well, today's Daily Deion comes from his interview on the Pat McAfee show, where he talks about how you notice there's no C's on the Colorado Buffaloes uniforms. They don't have captains. Instead, they've got this.
This man right here is a dog. You saw on the shirts, we don't have captains, man. I don't believe in that foolishness.
Love it.
I believe in leaders and dogs. Every dog ain't a leader, and every leader ain't a dog. We got some dogs. That kid right there is a darn Rottweiler.
Now, he was talking about Travis Hunter, who has a D on his chest, whereas Shedeur Sanders, his son, and the quarterback, has an L on his chest.
So which is better?
I think they're both meant to be compliments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But would you rather be a dog or a leader?
Now, that's a great question.
I know what I want.
Oh, go ahead.
I would love to be a dog.
Do you think you're a dog?
No, I don't think I'm either. But actually, no.
You got a 0.
If you play board games with me, I'm a D for sure.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. If we're going to play like Trivial Pursuit or Monopoly or something, yeah, I'm totally a dog.
That's when your nothing turns into
I could get
crazy. You're
like
Rottweiler.
everybody. I could get competitive and I could cheat if I have to in cards.
In Monopoly.
But I'm definitely like, whatever he describes as an L, I don't know what that is, but I don't think I'm that.
Okay. I think I'm an L. I only turn into a D maybe in crunch time. I'd like to think I'm a crunch time D, and I'm a most of the time L.
By the way, nobody wants to be an L. You want to be a D, right?
Well, I think being an L is okay.
It's okay, but it's not like, oh, man, that guy there is an L.
Yeah, it's kind of like
you want to be
loser.
a dog. You want to be a Rottweiler. I mean, in Deion's world, I think a dog is cooler.
Probably. Guys, what are you?
Oh, I'm definitely neither also, but if I had to choose, I would definitely want to be the dog.
Stu?
Yeah.
Are you an L or a D?
Definitely not a D. Definitely not. So
I like the fact that we can all admit we're not Ds.
yeah. So I'll take the L.
Which kind of makes me feel like we're admitting to something else. I don't know. Douche, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not a D.
Yeah, but L sounds bad.
L doesn't sound great either. But I think I'm an L. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4CBS. Pierre joins the show from parts unknown. Pierre.
Bonjour, mes amis.
Oh, I know who this
Bonjour. Bonjour, mes amis.
Get out of here, Sully. I'd spot that Boston accent a mile away.
What are you talking about? I'm in Cannes, France. Bonjour, mes amis.
Cannes.
I'm in Cannes, France. You could take the guy out of the Southie, but you can't take Southie out of the guy. Hey, Sully, how you doing?
Me, the fabulous Schmoopy, and Mako. Mako invited us to Cannes with him for about a week, so we're here, and I wanted to call in and say bonjour, mes amis.
Wait, how does a kid...
Hello, friend.
How does a kid from Boston... Just like a guy, Sally, end up and hang out in Cannes, France. I think this is ridiculous.
McLovin, I asked myself multiple times throughout my past, how did I get here? Hanging with the Maggie and Perloff show, amazing bunch of times we've been together. When you had me on set, I still say, how the hell did you get here? I should get, that's my next tattoo. Sully, how did you get here?
Who let you in?
I got to get approval.
Wait, Sully. Okay, so paint the picture for us. You're in Cannes for the Great Film Festival. Are you rubbing elbows with all the famous people?
Missed it by 3 months, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm rubbing elbows with Mako. Mako's the most famous person we know.
Well, by the way,
you guys got a chance to meet Mako in November.
I know,
he's the
got
best.
a photo with him.
He's the best. He's a good buddy. Wait, so are there famous people year-round in Cannes? Like, I assume when you're on your yacht, you're seeing the rich and famous everywhere.
They might be, but I mean, so the past few days we've been into Cannes. We went down to Cannes. We were there tonight enjoying some espresso, chilling. We've been to Monaco. We've been to Grasse. We've been to St. Paul de Vence. And there was another place.
They sound different.
We went to Nice. I went to Nice. I went to Nice.
Sounds different when it's coming from Sully. Not how the French intended it with that Boston accent, Sully, but it sounds like you're in paradise, and we couldn't be happier for you. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to call in and talk. Are we talking like over-unders yet for the season? I don't know if I'll be able to call in before Thursday.
Wait, real quick. You're in paradise now. Are you ready for the opposite for Sunday when your Patriots play my Eagles? It's going to be pain, dude.
McLovin, I looked at the over-under. To bet the over, it's plus 135 to win 7.5 games. That's how pathetic it is right now to root for the New England Patriots. Are we going to make a wager?
Boo-hoo for Patriots fans. Sorry, Sully. You don't get the world's smallest violin here.
Wait, you know the Pats?
Are you making a wager?
Wait. Are you going over or under on 7.5?
I'm going to take the over because it's plus money.
Okay, no, let's do a show bet.
Show bet. Perloff v. Sully.
Yeah.
Loser has to go back to France.
I'll take the under on the Patriots, and you will take the over.
Okay, what's the wager?
It's got to be with us. It's got to be food related.
Yeah, probably something food related, or a trip wherever Marco's going next.
Oh yeah. Oh, no. Or something, you reside part of the year at least in Vegas. So it's got to be something Vegas. You've taken us to great restaurants. If the Patriots go over 8.5, I will find a 5-star restaurant in New York and take you out to honor the Patriots.
Sweet. And then either way, loser has to pick up the tab. Winner chooses the restaurant, whether it's in Vegas, whether it's in New York, or wherever.
Or it's in Nice, France, or wherever you are.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's called Nice, McLovin. It's nice.
Well, tell
nice
all the beautiful people that we said hello, and we are so excited that you're on this trip of a lifetime. Have so much fun, and good luck to your Patriots or whatever.
Yeah, I'll check in on Monday.
Yeah,
and
baby.
You guys, I'm glad we got to connect on this horrible trip.
Yeah. All right. Bye, Sully.
Love you, bud.
Love you, bye.
All right, au revoir. Au revoir.
Yeah,
I speak French.
He sent me a photo. It's even more insane when you see it. I don't know how, but if you don't know the show, Sully is the number one friend of the show.
Yep.
Finds himself in these ridiculous scenarios. He's kind of just always in the action. Great guy.
And the best conversationalist you will ever come across.
In the world.
Let's go to Bruin James, who's in California. Where else? Has got a thought on Colorado and the Buffaloes. Bruin James, how are you?
Good afternoon, and thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
The worst thing could have happened to Colorado was they won. And
wait, the worst thing? That's the best thing that happened to them. Why is it the worst thing?
Because now they put a big target on their back, and people are not going to, when they're playing Washington, when they're playing FC, when they're playing these upper tier teams, they're going to pour it on them because they want to put, mud on Deion's face and then, make him eat his words. So they just put a big target on them. They should have just lost his first game. And TC, go ahead.
Okay, but Bruin James, here's the thing. They had that target no matter what. So that's the thing with Deion. Like, that's what comes with having Deion Sanders, a Hall of Famer, as your coach. Bruin James, thank you so much for the phone call. Appreciate you checking in. They have the target no matter what. Our team's really going to try to run up the score now on Colorado just because they beat TCU in the opener?
I think the target gets much bigger because Colorado is getting a lot of hype and press. And I think that actually is a good point. Now, stylistically, I don't know that they kind of might match up against a USC or Washington, a team that can score 60 on any given day but can't necessarily stop anybody. So I'm not sure that they'll be in position to blow them out like that. But I do think that's an interesting question. Two things. One, how do they handle this success? I know it's one game. Kids read the headlines. It gets to their head. Two, are other teams going to really be fired up for this game?
Well,
I would be.
I think they were going to be anyway, to be honest, because
if Colorado was 2-4,
well, okay.
It's different.
A little bit different.
But now it's the game of the week every week.
But in some ways, I think that just like Deion Sanders is probably the best person in the world to be coaching Travis Hunter, someone who wants to play both ways, I kind of think Deion is probably the best coach to have, outside of like Nick Saban or Kirby Smart or something, with a big target on your back. Because Deion's been that guy too, who's had the target on his back, who has been such a star and knows how to handle those expectations, playing for the Dallas Cowboys, playing for the 49ers, playing for these big time teams. I think he's in a unique position to handle this too.
Oh, yeah.
Success.
Right. I'm thinking back to what year was he in the BCS title game and that year in the Final Four and that Rose Bowl? How do you know he's coached one FBS game? You're saying Deion is this as a coach and that as a coach. He just started at this level.
I'm saying Deion as a person.
I agree with that.
As a person, he knows how to handle expectations. Hell, he was on like one of the last dynasties of the NFL.
Totally true.
Yeah.
But how does that over time translate as a coach? Yeah, it sure is a great start. It is. But come on, we don't really know what he's going to be like as a coach over the whole duration. I have a feeling he could be restless. Maybe he's get success here, and right as he's about to take Colorado, I said, he'd be like, ooh, maybe this program looks better. Who knows? We have no idea.
Okay, did it cross anyone else's mind this weekend after they won? I'm like, I wonder if programs are already reaching out to him back channel.
Like what kind? Like
bigger programs, like bigger college football programs than Colorado, like SEC programs or whatever. To reach out back channel if Shedeur ends up getting drafted. How old is Shiloh, the defensive led the team in tackles, by the way. I believe he's younger. So maybe he wants to coach his kids the whole time through their college careers.
What's an upward move, though? Like, Ole Miss is not an upward move, right?
Well, I don't know. It depends what you think of the Big 12, where Colorado's going to go next year.
Shiloh's a senior, by the way.
Oh, he is? Never mind.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Well, obviously, let's say Florida State the ship has sailed.
Right. And Mike Norvell's doing a great job, so.
Yeah. So, like, are you saying, like, Alabama, Florida State? I mean, Florida. I mean, that's the kind of level that's next for him.
Yes.
Yeah, you think they were calling him after one game? That seems
I don't know if after one game, but I'm just wondering. I was like, I bet someone's back channeling here to try to.
I would think September 5th is a little early to back channel Deion.
Might be too late.
I don't understand. Who are these coaches that are getting fired 1 week in?
No, not this year. I'm saying down the line. Like, hey, we see what you're doing in Colorado, and just sort of laying the groundwork. If he does leave Colorado and it is successful, that they would want Deion to go to their school.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think, though, you're probably talking about 15 or 20 schools that are above Colorado. It's kind of
not many.
It's not too many. So his next step has to be huge. Like Alabama, maybe.
I don't have a name for you.
No. I'm not saying forget that back channel thing. I'm thinking like 3 years of success at Colorado, Nick Saban retires. Something like that. Like, I think that's the kind of goal we're talking about here. Like, that kind of program. If he is not restless. He's the pros, too.
Yeah,
how do you
3
know?
years. I don't see him staying in Colorado for 3 years.
I know. Isn't that weird? One win, and we're already writing him out after 3 years.
What if Shador ends up going, like, top half of the first round as a quarterback?
Yep.
And what if Travis Hunter in 2025, maybe he goes number 1 overall? I don't know. Usually, it's tough to pass on quarterbacks these days, but what if he wins the Heisman? I mean, what more are you doing there?
Well, trying to win a title.
And then next year it goes to 12 teams in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
So your goals can change.
Yeah, I mean, I think Colorado used to be a super high-end program. I don't know where he can go there that's so obvious. I mean, listen, Harbaugh's going after this year. Michigan.
I know. I think Harbaugh's going after this.
Ryan Day is better pick it up. I don't know. Now that you say it, who knows about... There's a lot of programs where the coaches could move up to the pros. Yeah, it is interesting. I do think he could do a lot with Colorado. Obviously, we saw it. I think he can make them one of those programs where you're saying, ooh, I want to move up to Colorado.
I don't know who changed their name, or maybe this is a new entry into the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch the show. Maggie's Karaoke Pants, which is an inside joke that only maybe some people know about. But anyway, Maggie's Karaoke Pants in the chat said, putting a target on yourself often takes the opponent out of their own style of play. If you really are gunning after Colorado, does it take you out of what you're doing? You know what I'm saying?
Totally. The Colorado had an interesting point. Say Washington is blowing them out. A scenario that would have been really easy to imagine 2 weeks ago. Does Washington throw a few extra touchdowns and say, you're not the only school with big-time recruits? That kind of thing. I think that's what he's talking about. Well, people pour it on because it's Deion. I think first of all, I think the coaches like Deion. It's nothing personal.
Well, that scenario might not work because they don't play Washington this year.
Well, there you go. Well, that guy said Washington and USC, so I didn't realize
it was Oregon and USC. So they play Nebraska this weekend, then Colorado State, then at Oregon on September 23rd, then home for USC on September 30th. So what does Colorado look like as we head into the month of October? Are we as this high on them as we are today?
Oh,
I don't think we're ever this high on Colorado in the history of Colorado ever again.
Fair. Did I ever tell you guys the karaoke pants story?
Real quick, though, if you're this high on Colorado now, you have to sign up for the whole season. You can't backtrack.
No, I'm in.
Oh, no.
I'm in.
So, okay. Yeah.
Bowl game.
They could go 1-10, and you are just as in after that 11th game.
Well, I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I said what I said. Bowl game. Did I ever tell you guys about the karaoke pants?
Yeah, you teased the karaoke pants. Now I need to know the story.
I'm surprised. I told the story, I think, once on the air before, and it was a long time ago. But I was doing karaoke with my college friends. This is something we always do, and we really get into it. So we get our own room. We would never subject strangers to this. You would hate us. So we're doing karaoke in our own private room, and I was really getting into it. And I was doing a Janis Joplin song, which is just terrible for your voice. And I did like a kick, like a superstar, like a rock star, like a Shawn Michaels like kick. Ripped my pants.
Oh, wow.
Right down the back. Didn't notice it. Walked all the way home from the karaoke bar. I'm talking like 20 blocks with a huge rip down the back seam of my pants. So my keister was just hanging out. For 20 blocks, I didn't notice it. And the only time I noticed was the next day when I picked up my jeans off the floor. It was like, oh no, there's a huge rip down the back.
It is the worst part of it because who knows who you flashed?
All of New York City.
Yeah, actually, Maggie got a couple dates off that one.
All of downtown New York is who I flash.
It's like, I don't know if you saw RG3 split his pants jumping into the water, but he noticed it right away and changed his pants.
Well, Tom Brady split his pants on the golf course once, and I was like, this is the only thing he and I ever have in common. We both split our pants in a tough moment. He noticed it, and I did it.
I feel like yours might be a little bit tougher.
I was blissfully unaware. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up. Some people making big proclamations, but are we buying it? We'll get to that next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. NFL Network is showing a replay of the Chiefs' narrow victory over the Philadelphia Eagles in last year's Super Bowl. And I got to tell you, Maggie, they don't need Travis Kelce in the second half here. They're finding guys left and right and left, and they're hitting with a jab here and a little Sky Moore there and a Kadarius Toney there. I think the Chiefs are going to be okay, even if Travis Kelce's hurt. He hyperextended his knee today, according to Adam Schefter. Still waiting to find out how much damage was done. Interesting thought experiment with football. What are the Chiefs without Travis Kelce? Because the system is so strong. If they continue to be good, then I think people are never going to doubt Andy Reid again.
Well, I don't think they're doubting him now, but I think part of the reason why Sky Moore is able to score in the Super Bowl is because a lot of attention is paid to Travis Kelce. You got to know where he is at all times. And so I do think they're different without Kelce. Now, again, we don't know for sure that he's not going to play in the opener.
Do you say he's downgraded to doubtful, right?
Doubtful. Doubtful usually means doubtful.
Doubtful when you get injured in practice on Tuesday is not a good sign.
Usually
and he's not young. He's going to turn 34 in October. They got to be careful with him. They should maybe save him.
I'm all for saving guys. I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I think that home field advantage is still really important to them. You know, the whole Burrowhead stuff from last year. I mean, I know they definitely took that personally when they were playing the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't know if it mattered to the outcome, but
wow, they lost the year before to them in Arrowhead.
I know, but I think they would want home field advantage. Anyway, we're not even sure if he's going to be out. Now, who I can confidently believe is going to be out is Chris Jones. The fact that they don't have a contract extension done and it's 2 days before the game when the Chiefs play Thursday night against Detroit, I don't think he's going to be on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be crazy.
I agree. It's so impactful. I don't know what Chris Jones is asking for, but every time I watch that team, he is the most singular force on that defense, and you got to pay him. But easy for me to say. I mean, of all the guys, I could anyone except Mahomes and Chris Jones for me. I know Kelce's incredibly important, but at least they have options. They have no options on defense, Maggie. There's just not talent around the thing. I mean, listen, they won the Super Bowl. They let up 35 points and could have let up more. So I'm worried about that. We're doing our Super Bowl picks later in the week, right?
Of course.
Oh, boy. I got to tell you, Chiefs, I mean, they make sense, but you got to read these headlines and worry about it.
Also, for fantasy teams and people doing their draft, Travis Kelce obviously is a very high pick.
Oh, that's a great point. Oh, he's going down. I have a big one tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And I'm glad we're doing it so late because of all the news that's coming out. It's affecting a lot of guys.
Let's play a little game of something we like to call Do You Believe It? It's one of our favorite games around here. And this is a little mixed bag here of some bold predictions. So first, Stu, let's go to the Jets. DJ Reed, one of their big acquisitions, was talking about the Jets defense and how it could be one of the best ever.
I think we have the potential to be the best defense in the NFL. And honestly, I think we could be historical, not just the best defense in the league, but I think we could have an historical defense like the 85-86 Bears, like the LOB in 2013. I think we could be that dominant.
Oh, boy. I mean, You want to talk about a quote that if the Jets are anything but a great defense is going to come back and haunt them. If the Jets falter on defense, which I don't expect, but anything can happen. If the Jets falter on defense, that soundbite will be played over and over again until the end of time because people love to rub it in the face of anyone who makes bold predictions, particularly people who play for the New York Jets.
I'm just curious where this guy got the 85-86 Bears. I mean, normally you say the 85 Bears. I feel like he might have Wikipedia'd that right before the press conference.
No.
But the LOB Seahawks is a great nickname.
Well, that's what they are.
Yeah, I mean, did we all call him LOB, though?
I mean, I think people call them the Legion of Boom, but we all get it. We know what they are.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a great nickname. I mean, I love the Legion of Boom. I never once called them the LOB or ever heard LOB. It's awesome. The fact that the guy knows his history, I'm very impressed by this.
Yeah.
Because most players don't like NFL football, have no idea what happened before 2018. I'm into it. I think the Jets defense takes a step back for one reason. Last year, everybody was up 4 touchdowns because of Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Nobody had to throw the ball. So are they that elite once everyone's throwing against them? They're probably pretty good, but 85 Bears, no.
I don't think they're going to be up there with the 85 Bears or the Legion of Boom. I do think they're going to be very good. What were they, a top 5 defense basically last year?
Top 5, again, by a little bit by circumstance, though. Because teams started to take the ball. They were they were losing all the time.
Yeah, it was, I mean... Yeah, you didn't have to press and press and press. Right. You were basically just sitting on the ball for the whole second half.
Yeah, because, and also you had the defense had to cover 16 yards after Zach Wilson handed the ball over.
All right, let's move on. Do you believe it? Samter, we're not letting you get in on that Jets conversation.
Probably for the good thing.
Do you believe it? Here's Tom Brady on the Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray. He's still doing the podcast.
It's hard, and I am very excited to never put on a helmet again. I did enough years of that, and putting that 6-pound helmet on your head in 102-degree heat, believe me, I'm not ever going to miss that.
All right. I hate to be the person who parses the words here, but is it really 102 in New England? No. But secondly...
I was just in New England. It is hot as all get up, but yes.
So, I will say, though, just for that cut, he was talking specifically about when he was playing in Atlanta and how he's living in Miami now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not Atlanta, sorry, Tampa.
Tampa.
So he was talking specifically about Tampa and Miami in that cut specifically.
I was going to say, it's not 102 in Boston. It might be hot, but it's not 102. So I think that Brady, this was a little bit surgical. Because, of course, he doesn't want to do training camp. Nobody wants to do training camp. No one wants to play when it's blazing hot. But that doesn't mean he wouldn't put on the helmet when it's 70.
So you're saying he's going to come in November?
Maybe.
For the 3-9 Bucks.
I don't know. No, not for the Bucks, but maybe for someone else.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. By the way, I do agree with that helmet always looks super heavy, especially in hot weather. And you see guys carry that helmet like, oh, God, I have to carry this thing. I totally think he's telling the truth. And I don't know what he has to do to convince you he's retired, Maggie.
No, I'll never believe it. Finally, do you believe it? Let's go to Deion Sanders, Stu, talking about Travis Hunter. Could he be a future number 1 overall pick?
That kid is straight different.
Yeah.
He is different. He's the first rounder. He's the first pick overall when it's his opportunity to go in the NFL draft. First pick overall on both sides of the ball.
Are they going to let him do both in the NFL, you think?
Well, only a fool won't let him do both because he's going to be the best player on either side.
Do you believe it that Travis Hunter could be the number 1 overall pick? He's draft eligible in 2025.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe he goes 2 because he's not a quarterback, but he's a top 5 pick. I think we've seen enough. In fact, he should shut it down. He should shut it down right now.
Remember the conversation we had about Jadeveon Clowney? It's like, why even play?
Nothing good. He should have said it after that TCU game. He should wave to the crowd and said, "Goodbye, college football. It's been great." There's nothing to gain.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at the IMG Academy just hanging out.
The guy was covering like 4 different routes at once. There's no reason for him to play any more college football.
But you called him the Shohei Ohtani of football. You are going to have a coaching staff, depending on the kind of, open-mindedness that's going to be okay with him playing both sides. I mean, Deion's saying it as if it's, definitely going to happen because it happened for him. I don't know if that's necessarily a given.
Yeah, but you could still take him top 5 as a cornerback as well, which is a very valuable position. Maybe you do want to save him and not put him wide receiver. But Kordell Stewart was a guest earlier, talked about some players that cross over. It's funny, he was on a Steelers team that loved moving guys around. They had Antoine Randall, Hines Ward, 2 former college quarterbacks, and him. look it up. There have been some cornerbacks who are so good they've tried him out a wide receiver, right? Maybe Ack can help us with that. I feel like Champ Bailey lined up a wide receiver, but some guys are so amazing that they've gotten some two-way play. Or am I imagining that?
No, I remember, didn't Vrabel have like a couple touchdowns randomly?
Yeah,
He's a linebacker.
Yeah. Well, Tony Dungy comes to mind. He was a college quarterback who played defensive back.
Right, but was there ever there was a cornerback that was so good that they had to line him up a wide receiver? Devin Hester, a college cornerback.
Troy Brown did it the other way, though.
Yeah, Troy Brown played the other way.
What's his name?
There's some
Roy Brown.
Did Charles Woodson play wide receiver in the NFL?
It was Woodson or Bailey. One of those two definitely lined up.
I think both.
Yeah.
Why? So there is a precedent. Teams, I think, will, if you're so good. Rod Woodson, they had to put a returner.
Yes.
I think they'll get him out there. But what do you think, Maggie? You think he's a top 3 pick or number 1 overall type?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know about number 1. We're just so infatuated with quarterbacks now, and it's just so important to get them and to get them as cheap as possible, like on those rookie deals.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that maybe not number 1, but definitely top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I already identified my number 1, Drew Aller, Penn State, number 1, 25. Pencil it in. He is ridiculous. So definitely, Deion himself was in that famous draft, 89, and he went 5, right? And he could go number 1 in a million drafts, but he was behind Barry. Who is it in that draft? They went to act. It was Barry Sanders,
Derek Thomas, and number 2 was Tony Mandrich.
Wait, who's 1?
Barry
was 3. Aikman, Barry, Troy, Deion, and one other Hall of Famer in top 5. Okay. Come on, Ack, get with it.
I think wasn't Derek Thomas in that draft?
Doing the 1989 draft off the top of the dome.
Well, that's a piece of when Deion went number 5. Deion, you're right. Derek Thomas number 4. Why do I doubt Ack?
I know you can't do it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good draft. But if Deion can't go number 1. Then why? Is it amazing that the similarities between these two guys?
He's being coached by the perfect guy.
It's like you wrote a script.
Yep. And I think that's what sold. How he sold Travis Hunter to not go to FSU like Deion did, and come with him to Jackson State and now move on to Colorado.
They were showing a lot of highlights on the game on Saturday of Deion, and I can understand why people have an issue with Deion.
Have an issue with him.
Yes, because he'd be returning a touchdown. He would start high-stepping and pointing at the guy chasing him at like the 15-yard line. I mean, people think they trash talk now. Deion is the all-time king.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we get to some interesting sound from Mike McCarthy. A couple big-time issues on the table for the Cowboys. He'll address them. Next, after this CBS Sports Update, here's Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Flash.
Just 2 days before the season opener, Travis Kelce suffered a hyperextended knee in practice and is doubtful for Thursday night. The good news, according to ESPN, the team believes that his ACL is intact. Georgia remains number 1 in the new AP Top 25 poll, followed by Michigan, Alabama, and Florida State at number 4. And Colorado and Duke ranked this week after upset wins. The Blue Devils 21st after beating Clemson, and right behind them are the Buffaloes, who beat TCU in Deion Sanders' first game as their new head coach. Coco Gauff moves into the semifinals of the U.S. Open with a straight sets win over Yelena Ostapenko, her first time in the semis at Flushing Meadow. Novak Djokovic also straight sets winner over Taylor Fritz. The Texas Rangers spent a lot of time in first place this year. Now they're looking up at the Mariners and Astros in the AL West. Texas a game back after dropping the series opener to Houston. They'll come back with Nathan Eovaldi tonight, who makes his first start after missing the last 7 weeks. The Mariners continue their series with the Reds. Cincinnati tied with Arizona with the final wild card in the NL. The Diamondbacks will take on the Rockies. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, we recap a very busy weekend of college football, plus Red Zone's very own Scott Hansen stops by. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So Travis Kelce looks like doubtful now for the season opener on Thursday. Chiefs and Detroit Lions. We've been reacting to Colorado, the headliner off of college football, big win over TCU. Now Shedeur Sanders, legit pro prospect, Travis Hunter, amazing two-way player in the conversation for the Heisman. There was something over the weekend, Perloff, that I never heard before in my whole life when it comes to sports.
Wow.
It was our pal Albert Breer who was reporting on Patriots wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. And the report was his knee could explode at any moment. I was like, what is it, a pimple? That is such an awful way to describe somebody's body part. I've never heard it put like that before.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but first of all, too, that's such a dire consequence.
It's like a ticking time bomb.
I hope not. I love Juju Smith-Schuster, but I do understand he has been quietly super injured his entire career. Going back even, I think, to the end of USC, already things have started to pop up. He's he's like a pretty boy who dances on TikTok.
Yeah,
he's a very physical player. That's the problem. He's jacked.
Yeah.
He loves to block. He once knocked out Vontaze Burfict. I mean, he's
retaliation.
Yeah, he is no wimp. This stinks. Because, all right, that's a little dramatic, but it does make you sort of down on his chances this year.
Also, like, should you be playing if your knee could explode at any moment? Also, what does that look like? Just the whole thing was a weird visual. So think about it.
I see tendons popping everywhere. Have you ever met anyone who blew their Achilles and it sounded like a gunshot?
Yeah.
One of my best friends blew both on the same play.
Oh, my goodness.
Or something to that effect.
Carson Wentz? Who?
He's terrible. My friend John Brule.
Okay.
He's just a guy who's playing basketball. You're like, who?
Well, remember Carson Wentz sprained both ankles on the same play?
Yeah, that was amazing. But it's terrible. I get that explosion thing. Now, you said, why does he play? What else is he got to do? He's got his whole life to not play.
I get it, but that sounds like you're waiting for something extremely painful to happen. It almost feels like an inevitability, no? Explode at any moment? You think he's playing 17 games with a diagnosis like that?
I don't know what that actually means. It doesn't matter, though, because they have Tyquan Thornton, who you said rivals Tyreek Hill,
He's hurt now.
Devontae Adams.
He's hurt now. We were just simply talking about Patriots' depth at receiver.
By the way, our buddy Tom Curran, who is a big Patriots writer, said that this year is going to be much better because they're so much more well-coached. Bill Belichick is going to be serious about it this year.
Oh, great.
He said
he
the
wasn't
bar,
serious last year?
He said the bar is much lower, like they just want to make the playoffs, but he said they're going to be a very serious team this year, and they're not going to screw around like last year.
Wow. It's wild. It's like one of the greatest coaches of all time. He was just messing around last year, doing this for goofs.
I don't know. Their second-best receiver's knee is about to explode. Last year, the one thing that they're good at, special teams, they're terrible at. So who knows what's going on there?
Let's get to our shot of the day, shall we?
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it, and football season is definitely Casamigos season. Keep the summer going with their incredible products. Okay, so today's shot of the day, the snapshot of the day, comes from our guest, Kordell Stewart, Colorado Buffaloes legend, Hall of Famer, Pro Bowler with the Steelers, joined us earlier in the show and had a lot of great things to say. But the interview got off to a bit of a rocky start because he was in the Burger King drive-thru.
One of the greatest wins I honestly can say we've had in an extremely long time. Okay.
Wait, Kordell, are you in the drive-thru?
I'm at Burger King. Guys, I'm at Burger King. I'm at Burger King. I'm trying to get the number one with cheese, no onion, extra pickles, and a large, and they get a Dr. Pepper, and they're telling me I got to go through the drive-thru, and I just went through the drive-thru. What are we doing here? God,
I mean, that's just awful.
But,
that sounds amazing, by the way.
Wait, did you get the order in?
Listen, guys, I'm talking like we're not even on the radio, right? Dude, but back to what your question was.
What a pro.
I know, right?
Slash is right, you know? You can play multiple positions on the football field, and you can be on a radio show and order at the Burger King drive-thru. I looked it up, and number one, Whopper. What do you say? No onions, extra pickles? Sounds good.
It's a good order.
Yep.
And
the diet Dr. Pepper.
Not exactly sticking to an NFL diet regimen. I don't know if you could have eaten that during your playing days, but
it's probably actually better to eat it during your playing days.
Yeah, because you'd burn it off.
Of course.
My mouth is watering. I want a Whopper.
I know, me too.
Well, it's the only fast food I'll eat is Burger King.
Google how many calories in a Whopper.
Don't do it. Don't do that.
No, thank you.
Samter bikes here every day. He's burning off the calories.
I'll have a Whopper. I'll have a Whopper Junior. How's that?
660 calories in a basic Whopper.
Honestly, I thought it'd be more.
That's not too bad.
not bad at
I'll
all.
go with the Whopper Jr., hold the cheese, right? And then I'll just bike to and from, and then I'll be good.
Just do a couple laps around Manhattan. You'll be fine.
Only 40 grams of fat, 12 grams saturated fat. That's a lot for one little hamburger.
I think we all know where we're all stopping after the show.
I can do the Impossible Whopper.
I can't do that. I'm not into that at all.
No.
I had some non-meat chicken this weekend. It wasn't bad.
Knowingly you did it, or someone
like someone said,
tricked you?
hey, try out this non-meat chicken, and I honestly couldn't tell the difference. It was like breaded. It was like chicken fingers.
Yeah, I think that's for people who have to. You know, it's like you can't eat meat or you don't want to. I don't know. I am a carnivore, so I don't know if I would choose to go with the Impossible.
But I can promise you, man, like you wouldn't know the difference if you didn't realize that.
In my mind.
Yeah, but if someone just gave it to you, you wouldn't know.
By the way, I've never heard anyone say, I've heard people say I'm not a vegetarian, but to say I'm a carnivore,
Well, I'm a T-Rex.
If you were a Colorado Buffalo and you were an L or a D, you'd be a D for dog. You're a carnivore.
I told you, I think I'm an L
But
and a D in crunch time.
You're not a carnivore. You're an omnivore, but you eat plants as well.
No, I don't. No, I do. I'll sneak a salad in every now and then.
By the way, we got an update.
What's that?
Travis Kelce. Did you guys see this?
Nope.
Adam Schefter, after test today, the Chiefs believe Travis Kelce's ACL is intact.
Oh, phew.
Per source. There's inflammation in his knee, and they will test it again Wednesday to determine his availability for Thursday night versus the Lions. You might want to pull that bet.
Yeah, so has the doubtful now been upgraded to a questionable?
I haven't seen that exactly, but that is good. I think we were all secretly worried the ACL was, in fact, damaged, but he's fine. Inflammation in his knee, that doesn't sound good. That's old man disease. I get that.
Swelling.
Yeah.
As somebody who tore his ACL playing football, I can just tell you, like the initial test, they do that little knee movement thing. The MRI is not going to be back in time. There could be other ligaments or muscle tear or something else going on in that knee. So I don't think that the MRI is saying anything. I think that they've just kind of done a stability test.
No.
You can't get an MRI result in 10 minutes.
No, it was 2 hours now.
Yeah, I think they could.
And all I have to see is the one tendon intact.
Wait, but here's the thing.
But you still can't play with a torn MCL or PCL or something along those lines. The ACL might be intact, which might not be a season, but it could still be something else. So I'm not breathing a sigh of relief yet if I'm a Chiefs fan.
Guys, listen, I'm a doctor. No, I'm not. But
Where's Rock Positano when you need him?
This is, he'll call. This is the one thing about it. Even if it's, not worst case scenario where it's torn, just to have to deal with a less than 100% knee right at the beginning of the season, like this doesn't automatically go away. You're going to deal with it all year long potentially.
How do you know? You just said you're not a doctor. We have no idea.
Joking.
These words, we know what these words mean individually. There is inflammation in his knee. What the heck does that mean?
Listen.
That sounds bad.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, looks like Joe Burrow is trending towards playing.
But you and I talked about this morning. We knew he was playing. He's playing.
He was definitely always
What is this? Why are you playing mind games for your week one opponent? Joe Burrow is playing.
Yeah, I don't think that the Ravens were going to, the Browns, pardon me. They start with the Browns. I don't think the Browns were like preparing for, who's the backup? Jake Browning.
And how is Jake Browning?
Washington legend.
How is Jake Browning your guy? That's weird to me. Maybe he's good. But it feels like with an injured quarterback, you might want to get a veteran. They cut Trevor Siemian. We'll see.
Well, I don't think that was any bad news.
I think the Bengals and the Cardinals are kind of pulling the same move. Like, who's our quarterback going to be? It's going to be so tough to figure out.
Well, the Cardinals. The thing is about that.
A little different.
Slightly different expectations this year. Where the Cardinals.
Josh Dobbs and Joe Burrow are not on the same level?
Yeah, considering the Cardinals, well, now they might have a few people. Caleb Williams is definitely still the front runner, but there were a lot of really impressive quarterbacks this weekend.
The Cardinals are talking the Kyler Murray talk. You're clearly not buying it.
They made him a captain.
They said they made him a captain. They're making it clear.
There are no captains around here. They're only dogs and leaders.
Jonathan Gannon says the coach says he's going to play him.
So here's the thing. I think they sort of have to play him if they plan on trading him.
There's no trade for Kyler Murray. I keep telling you that.
There's always a trade for somebody.
$50 million for a quarterback coming off a knee injury?
Lose Caleb Williams. Unless you're really convinced that one of these 17 other quarterbacks are going to be the guy.
You're not going to pass on Caleb Williams or whoever because Kyler Murray is there with this new regime. So you have to thread this needle. He's got to play a little bit so that other teams can maybe be tantalized.
Do you know how much
he's home at halftime?
No. Kyler Murray.
They're doing platooning with him and Josh Dobbs.
His ankle was sore.
Yeah.
You would have to give a first round pick with Murray for another team to take.
No, just money.
Well, you can't really because of the dead cap in the NFL. You
I know.
Can't.
It's not as easy as it looks.
With all the quarterbacks in this draft, who's going to take on Kyler Murray at this point?
But are you really going to have Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams sitting there with each other? That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense. All right, we're flat out of time.
That's a Cardinals move. Like Josh Rosen was there, and they drafted Kyler Murray. They're fine.
Yeah, they never paid Rosen, though. Thank you to Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Kordell Stewart, who joins us, to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. Until tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.
You're in a 5-minute break.